Chapter 71. King Scenario. You are listening at novelfull.audio. We were forced to withdraw. First of all, there is a difference in strength. Even though only one didn't fall down, most of them declined, but the fact that there is a group of great swordsmen is tough. At first, there is a tactic that can still be won if we have the power of a dragon, or if it strikes at once from the high sky with a breath. It won't be a match for any kind of swords, but it is nothing but an act of blowing away the whole town. A large number of people would die. There is no need to be in laws and to kill the old man. We're just outsiders. Furthermore, the shock that my good nature was completely used. I felt like I could be friends with the old man. That's why I was troubled by his seriousness, spent a month without consulting with anyone and came to measure the meaning of his words without being armed. Diane can't overlook it for free. It was also calculated as a possibility that Layla, who purported to protect me, relied on Diane to make up for the loss of the world. All of them, a stone to this timing when the uncle starts the Sword Saint Brigade and marches not far from Lyca to the capital city. This timing. In other words, the Trot Corps doesn't move in fear of being in tune with the Sword Saint Brigade, and even the arrival of the Northern Army Corps is barely out, considering the slowness of the military headquarters. Support from the main force Ace Knights and other corps gathering Master Knights are impossible to be in time. Only I, who has dragons as a carrying ability in Diane's crossbow corps, can only make it in time. He completely read us and I was used. Damn it, my good nature was misused. The opponent is a veritable knight who has lived to fight. As a blacksmith and a soldier, I am still a half-man, just a sloppy townsman who is surrounded by beautiful women. What about being friends? He has saved me in a dangerous place and just spent a month at the hot spring together with us. There is no reason why I can't understand or respond to the act of rebellion and revolution that gambling his life and I have little or no connection with him. As he said. What I'm saying is a generalization, a superficial, another thing, and it's needless to say that everyone knows it. It is not supposed to move him. What did I think I could do? I was a fool. Andy, we're almost done with reconsideration, Diane, in the cold wind of dawn. We couldn't stay at that post town and we were walking to the next post town without any particular reason, but when the sky was white, Diane stood in front of me and folded her arms, sending a firm line of sight. I understand that you used to adore Sir Bonaparte and I know that it was shocking to be used. But, Andy Smithson is a 10-man captain, Diane calls me with my job title. In other words, not as a lover, but as a soldier, as an adult, blasting firmly. You haven't done anything yet. There's still something you can do, if you say to the wind, don't give up because the enemy is strong. Don't give up because there is no weapon. Throw a stone if you don't have a weapon, throw sand if you don't have a stone, but, you still have a hand. We just need to evacuate Ulysses 3, ho. It's a bone to fight with a dragon slayer, but if I fly and carry a person, it's not like an opponent that rivals me, yes. As long as you live, you have a chance. Layla and Selenium also encourage me. But he will already have escaped by the flying dragon service, ho ho. Well then that's a good story, and, if you hear the king's story, it might open up a breakthrough. At least for Celesta, that king wasn't incompetent. In the first place, in the reputation, King and Bonaparte were said to be close friends. I couldn't say if that guy was so confident, but if you listen to it a lot, it's a weird thing. I don't understand the human world well. Everyone said it was weird. I was wondering as I was quiet, but I used to be depressed. Finally, Apple hugged me from behind and whispers. Andy.San, I think that's fine. What? You're not a Trot, you're not a Celesta, you're not a blacksmith, you're a little special soldier and you still want everyone to be happy. I think that Andy.San is good at running. I'm a decent soldier and a veritable Trot person, ho. But I think you were able to be liked by different people and help different people just because you can give courage and say things from an unconstrained position. I don't think so. I don't remember having saved someone with my hands so far. After all, only I have been helped. Many people who have liked me seem to have started with a slight misunderstanding. But if Apple says so, that would be the case. That's why, that's right. I think I should go that way, not to be too afraid of someone, not to dislike someone, not to be bound by something, but to stretch out my hands. In search of someone's hand that might hold it. I've been doing it that way and it might be better to do so. Good, let's go back to Basun once we have decided on a policy. First is the royal capital, let's bring in zeros. Yes, I see, after all, it will take time and effort to see the king. If we rely on N0s, we may be able to see him through Linda.san. The fact that we have a dragon is something that only the Trot Core HQ knows only, and we should treat it as Layla is an attendant. The audience wouldn't pass obediently when it comes to the story that Layla stuck her head in earnest into such a disturbance between humans. N0s is the right answer here. Good, Layla. No wait, let's return with Maya, Diane Forestals. Ho, it's okay, why? Diane answered with a nod to the question of selenium. Layla and Maya have to do the big job to carry all the Crossbows Corps members here after this. It will be tough to just let Layla do it, it is not said that it is tiring at that level, but I understand. Let's go, Maya poses nicely. And the next moment a blue dragon appeared. Aboard, everyone begins to climb quickly. Ho ho. Once in a while, you can ride another dragon, it's a bit too smooth, it's hard to climb, say, Seelan, yes, hold on, and I myself was embraced by Diane and jumped on Maya's back. Very cool, but if I climb by myself there is no doubt that I will struggle more than Apple. Fly. Fly, Maya. Yup, as Chibi Maya rode on my shoulder and nodded, she soared into the dawn sky. We arrived at the Corps building in the afternoon. The Crossbow Corps got into a big fuss. It becomes a commotion because Layla and Maya, which are unidentified guests, are all together in their dragons, and they came with Diane's command to get everyone to the royal capital by riding on them, or rather stuffed in the wagon of the Corps. Maya.chan. My Maya.chan, dragon, no wait, though she is a dragon, Smithson's mark. Layla.san, no, Layla.sama. Why do you wear Smithson's collar? Why are you involved with Smithson? It's a sign of slavery. No, those guys are more focused on why those two have my collar than the fact that they are dragons itself. And I'll get ready to start again before I get chased, Andy. You went without telling us. Why didn't you say anything? No, Sensei, what if I leave it to Andy.Cohen? Please wait for your husband. I joined the three people who talked about the resentment that I left them behind before I got on Layla and went to the capital again. Maya and Jean are left behind instead. It is for reinforcement of the carriage that carries the Crossbow Corps members. As soon as they are ready, they are in charge of bringing everyone to the capital one after another. And, in the evening, we return to the capital. And Zeros had a difficult face when we talked about the situation during the flight. I see, after all, wasn't it a mistake? And Zeros seems to have piled up a thin image of her father on Sir Bonaparte. Thinking a little while wrinkling up the eyebrows, she closed her eyes until we landed near the capital city. And as it is, everyone goes into the capital city. Really, there are elves in the capital city, right? Apple is surprised to admit the appearance of the elves who are seen on the street corner, and somehow Selenium is proud. No, I think it's not boasting of Selenium. However, it is better to meet Linda.san than to point it out. We went all the way to that big Newman house. And the Newman house. Oh, you're fine, Ange. Mother. Linda is overwhelmed by the appearance of her daughter, who has visited at an unexpectedly short interval. And after a few seconds of hugging, and Zeros told our purpose to come here. Mother. The king, is it possible to have an audience with the king? Audience. You know, too, Mother, Sword Saint Brigade. Linda.san made her face become stiff. What are you going to do, Ange? Tell the king to escape from the capital city? I see, I think this is a problem within the Trot Kingdom. What are the Celesta's army intentions? Diane responds to Linda. Sans slow. Testing words instead. Anything from the military, there will be a consultation, but we have faster means of movement. Well, I'm fine. If you can tell that old man that, please do so. Linda has a very cold face and shakes her neck when she flutters. Is the king opposed to the escape plan? It is not an impossible story. The ultimate existence meaning of kings and nobles is to protect the people and the country. If the king voluntarily abandons it, even if the life is not cut off, it becomes as good as dead socially. However, he already become a symbol without power and there is no chance to win against the Sword Saint Brigade, so why is he staying here? Yeah, Linda agreed with a drowning voice to my mutter. Well, that old man, he is in the eastern drawing room. Is he here? He really doesn't have a sense of crisis. Just as Sir Bonaparte said, he seemed to be not competent. The king sat in front of a chessboard at the window, just like the last time we came here. Oh, Linda, your turn, king. It's been a long time, Ange. And that young man. King Ulysses made his face wrinkle a bit, as he saw us and sighed. You have such a risky face. It's like the bureaucrats of Celesta, maybe on the same matter, and Zeros bowed in the Celesta ceremony. The Sword Saint Brigade. A group that is called the strongest unit in the northwestern plains, with Sir Arthur Bonaparte as its figurehead, is coming southward. According to the story from a colleague, a dragon slayer has also been brought up. The Trot Corps will not send out their main force out of fear of getting in tune with them. The aim is the king, which is you, so could you escape the capital with us? Does the capital stand without the king there? But as it is, Arthur will come to the castle. Protecting me are the imperial guards and at best they're 100-inch. The king is reluctant to move with a feeling that he is reluctant to talk about a boring story. Do you want to die? Well. The king is one of the parts of the country, for the sake of the country, there are times when it is a wicked way to spare one's life. I am not convinced by the words of the exhausted king. No, I don't want to be convinced. What do you say is going to die? The revolution will come true. You told me that you didn't have the power anymore. Taking your neck, even if old man Bonaparte becomes king or prime minister, he would only be crushed by the whole Celesta army anyway. Celesta won, Trot lost. Now, it is difficult to make up for that difference. Above all, the Old Kingdom army is now operated by Celesta as the Trot Corps. Even if all of them revolted in unison and turned over to Trot, the Northern and Western Corps would arrive until they could be reorganized and capable of sufficient operational action. It is easy for regular troops to strike the confused unit, though it is the Northern Corps, which is said to be weak. That's right, it will be so. If you know that, why don't you try to run away? Before it's really going to be irreparable, give him room to stop. Why is it that it is a country to die in vain and to flee is an evil way? I don't understand the reason. Andy Smithson was it? What is it? Are you from Polka? Did you see Arthur? Ah, certainly, it is unnatural for me to say old man to that old man. Is it obvious that I met Sir Bonaparte? He's a good man. He is a man with a high spirit, full of strength and a body and will that has been polished like a single sword. Both him and I can't rebuild Trot. There is no time. It's a sad story. Even so, if we were to stretch our spines, it would be necessary to show that the Trot's soul is still on the back of this decrepit king and the nobles. This country is still ill. A person who has never been ill needs the will to stand out of illness. What, that is, no way. From that point on, it's our problem. I like it, but it's good. The king shows a tired smile. And Diane smacks her lips at that. Everything is connected. I see, like that, ho ho ho. For a short-lived, low-profile human, there is a way of doing something. How to use our lives may not be easily understood by the dark elves. Diane turns around. We hurry up and chase her. What does that mean? Promotion of generation change of nobles by the king. While Diane turned her back, she began arranging words short with a firm voice. The complete resurrection of Bonaparte, the age group of the new Sword Saint Brigade. The use of a dragon slayer. Provocation against me. How to live in the daylight of the king, the engagement of Ruth and Princess Reina and the studying abroad at Duke Gardner's house, what is it? All connected, all the scenarios are drawn by that old man, Good, the king is playing incompetence. It is as Bonaparte's talk says. And Bonaparte has used the Dragon Slayer band in the international community in a grand manner. This means that whichever wins, the aim is to be criticized as being Neither the king nor anyone has the right to the military supreme command in the current trot. In other words, depending on the convenience of Celesta, it is not strange if no one appears in reinforcements to the king. The scenario that the new Sword Saint Brigade loses is also included in the script, what script? The King and the Sword Saints. The battle between the two former powers who once carried the flag of Trot. The people's feelings will surely swell, and whichever wins, that battle later, will help the re-revolution of Ruth and Princess Reina supported by the great scholar Duke Gardner, re-revolution. The incompetent king, who was saved by Celesta, forgot to choose the means of the unclean Sword Saints. Backed by Trot's largest prestigious family, the Gardner family, and the generations of their parents who become upset, Ruth and Princess Reina will rise. This is the birth of a new hero king, a rejuvenation in the lower part, scraping out the strange pride, young nobles who are full of hope and motivation. They will revive Trot, in other words, that's right. Both the old great Sword Saints and Bonaparte are all gathered for the final battle, riding on this scenario. The king's most important Sword Saint Brigade will have us as the last opponent as we were called by his invitation, as if to play the best death fight, as a chance to rinse one's defeat. Wait. Everything. Have they progressed with that scenario? My trip to Polka also. And Zero's marriage story too. Everything. Like that, Diovico, it's perfect. Even if we will forsake, defend or just forgive the king, in the end it will be as the king planned. It's the same as it is, it's a very difficult person, that king is. Either way the old man and the king will die, in a dimly lit corridor in Newman's house. We are silent. If we report this to the Celesta Army General Headquarters, Diane shook her head to Anzirosa's proposal. At the moment, there is no reason to force it to stop. It doesn't matter to Celesta whether the king has a centripetal force or not. The Celesta army is welcome to activate if Trot doesn't turn to an enemy. We will try to hold down the new king's neck root early, Such. After all, it's a magnificent suicide, the tendency to do such things and end one's life is certainly difficult for us to understand, we can't even stop it. I will burn both sides. It will be the fastest, as for me. As I bite my lips, I remembered when I found out that my father was dead. Even my father died because he wanted to die. However, on the other hand, these parents who were envied for themselves will die. Only the children are left behind. If you are forced to do well in exchange for it, be happy. You can bathe in such happiness. I want to admit it. Hey Andy, Diane looks at me sorrowfully. Can such a scenario be accepted? It is an irresponsible talk that it will be possible to leave the happiness to the child by bothering purposely in the habit of parents. My words echoed long in the corridor of the Newman house before it disappeared. Chapter 72. Night in the capital. You are listening at novelfull.audio. We stay at the hotel which we used last time. Then, after Diane's breath and sighs, she regains her cool look as a 100-man commander. We will fight. Our policy as a crossbow corps won't change. The king's plan for revitalizing his Trot, with or without the king, with the same outcome at the end. However, Diane is in a position to be on time. I was exhausted. As far as possible, we can only go in the direction of the Sword Saint Brigade, as long as it is in the form of revolt, whatever the historical significance is, it's a force that can't be overlooked, victory or defeat. There are no avant-garde troops, there is certainly no effect of crossbow and illusion against Bonaparte, but the other great sword saints should be different. The danger is big, but dividing the corps into 2 platoon units and operate it as much as possible with tactics using the terrain. And Sir Bonaparte, I somehow will hold him back. Diane alone is the avant-garde. It's more of a diversion than that. I don't think I can fight Sir Bonaparte alone. Tentatively, Diane seems to have a plan. And Zeros's team will be in charge of protecting the front guard unit in a row. Even if they got old, they are still great sword saints, giving priority to the support of friends while not overdoing it. It's going to be an endurance fight, and Aurora will be your assistant. Diane gives quick instructions and measures. Then she looked at me suddenly. Andy, you will rest this time. There is also a provision. Exceptions are permitted to target specific areas or targets in combat missions and to remove the person from such missions if they have a significant impact on soldier morale. No, now you're going to interfere with the operation. Look in the mirror, it is said by Diane, and I see my face in the mirror which was in the room. Certainly, I was far from being calm and tense to fight by any means. But, I don't care if the battle starts. The other party is strong, and it's better not to be at risk of dying from the beginning on the battlefield. You will know which of the 100 soldiers who are not at a loss and those who have fallen from 200 to 100 are worth it. Soldiers who lost their allies in front of them lose their morale anyway. If you are ruled by fear, sadness, or anger, your ability to operate will be lost. Even if a soldier loses the role assignment originally expected due to such rubble, the combat power will be halved. That's the way the patterns are overwhelmed by a few. If you have bearless soldiers or useless soldiers, you will only cut down your entire strength. It is better not to have a bad friend. And I was now like that classification. Have a rest, and don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Yes, Diane returned to Ba Sun with Layla, when only the outline of the operation was given. I don't know how many dragons can carry a troop at one time, but so many round trips won't be necessary. The corps will probably gather in the capital city tomorrow. And I'm not participating. Don't be discouraged. Is it impossible to say? If you can control yourself, you won't be notified outside the field. I can't help complaining to N0s, but I am sorry. Andy, just a little, I will go and drink something. I dropped my shoulder and left the hotel. I will go too. Andy.san. Sorry. Just a little, leave me alone. I refused to be accompanied by Apple and Selenium, and I went out to the royal capital at night. The royal capital is my second home. I have been living here for 7 years. Reasonably I was aware of it. However, due to my age, there was no edge in the bar area. I notice it after I walked out of it. There is a certain level of knowledge that a bar is gathered around here, but I didn't know what nature, what kind of alcohol, what atmosphere, or what kind of bar. Well, fine, I felt like I was a little betrayed by this selfish city, but I still felt like drinking, so I entered a bar that I could see at hand. I don't care otherwise. I only want to drink alcohol. Even if a woman was told to buy, by the way, I felt that I would buy now. Oh, an unknown face, 1 beer and a side dish to suit to it. Instead of being addicted to the bar owner, I just sit back at the counter and say my order first. The barkeeper looks a little strange, but he does business with a lot of different customers, therefore he pours beer without hesitation. Here for you, traveler, thank you, take care. This is Trottian's area, Trottian area. The barkeeper sighed with his nose while serving hot fried potatoes. After the previous war, we started the segregation in the place of the taverns without permission. The neighborhood where only the Trot people gather and the foreigners gather, the thugs began to draw a line. I'm doing a shop here, and if the money is good and the drinking habit is not bad, anyone can come to my shop. Well, segregation is a good way to drink alcohol. I'm a Trot person. The barkeeper shrugged. If I thought that it was bad, there were a couple of thugs behind me. Do Trot people have a bad sense of clothes? You're from Celesta, get out of here, Yua. Seriously the worst. I'm from Trot. I grew up in Polka, I was pulled in by Celesta after the war, even so you seem like a Celesta person. Anyway, last time there was a pseudo-beast companion who saved money by frauding. Pseudo-beast means human beasts. It is a nickname for elves and ogres in a broad sense. Really the worst. Shut up. I'm not a brat, it's your existence itself that is bothering. You're out within 3 seconds or I'll crush your nose. The thugs have been threatening me for a long time. I felt that I will be thrown out anyway, so I ignored them and picked up my beer. And I was blown out in exactly 3 seconds as predicted. Guga, I just fall down with the chair. The taste of dry potato and blood is mixed. I'm too familiar with the Celesta valve and I can't even hear Trot's dialect from you. Maybe he is drinking without any money. I will check instead. The thugs reach out to my pocket while saying what they want. A stick was put in the hand. It hurts. What? I also look up as the thugs look up. There is a middle-aged man in a cape dressed in a superior cloak, and a swordsman with a beautiful breastplate. The swordsman is known at a glance. That person is Eric Randall. And the cloak's uncle. Good grief. So you're telling me to put down the bouncer, barkeeper, stunningly swinging the cane, putting it on his shoulder. The cloaked old man talks to the barkeeper. Old man, don't disturb, it's a polite manner for elders, you guys should get out. Suddenly a roar. The customers in the store shook their shoulders for a moment, also the thugs and me. Why, you. It is shameful to be scared by it, so the thugs attacked the uncle at once. And, as Eric and the uncle nod to each other, they put their shoulders together and prepare for the attack. It's time for a lecture, yes, and the thugs were beaten down by those two. The man in the cloak is 100. Man Commander Grants. Or rather, Assistant Professor Grants. I'm sorry for the trouble. If you think so, hire some guards who can kick back such young people as soon as possible. He was called Assistant Professor and I just couldn't understand it because it was an intellectual person. 100. Man Commander Grants. Trainee Smithson, no, you're now a 10. Man Captain. Come have a treat, this is my familiar shop. 100. Man Commander Grants sit at the counter seat gallantly. Eric sat on the other side. We promised to have a drink together. What's up, Smithson? San. How is, Angelina? Sama. I took a sip of the beer on the counter and frowned on the cuts in my mouth and stared at the two people who made an unexpected appearance. No, what's wrong? No way you already break up with Angelina. Sama, What should I talk about? If you mean N0s, she is in the capital. Aurora and Diane will come tomorrow. For now, I decided to answer the two people's interests. Then. Is it true? If so, can I not meet her? Eric is overly pleased. And then, 100. Man Commander Grants stopped his movement to drink his brandy. What? No, I see. You haven't heard it. Subtle reaction. I and Eric align our faces in. Barkeeper, can I borrow a room? Assistant Professor Grants, yes, it's fine. Rooms 1 and 5.7 are open. Let's borrow room number 1, follow me. 10. Man Captain Randall and 10. Man Captain Smithson. Suddenly, with a brandy bottle and a pottery cup, Grant stands up and take the stairs to the hotel room. I and Eric look at each other and follow him with each alcohol and side dish in our hands. At this time, the crossbow corps is here and not even selling oil. Grants. Sensei. On top of that, you were caught up in the monkey show of the king in Sir Bonaparte. Wait, Grants. Sensei, you're disrespectful. Wait. 100. Man Commander Grants, how much do you know? I seem to know quite well when you think of me saying monkey show. But, what? The king's plan is, was it known to be so well known? I thought so, but apparently, it was obvious to this 100-man commander who has a decades-long career as a resident of the royal capital, as a sword saint. The engagement of the young noble Ruth and Princess Reina, and when they were all together in Duke Gardiner's house, there was something I could see through, as I'm one of those who knew him well, such as Sir Bonaparte's revolt against the king. Is exactly the same. When you understand the 600 years old history of Trot Kingdom, it seems that there was a similar case before, in that way. What is it? Wait, what do you mean? Bonaparte will defeat the king and makes a revolution, something else, you don't know it. 10-man Captain Randall, then what is the purpose? Everything is for the future of the kingdom and the political show for their children, which is foolish. 100-man Commander Grants gulps down his brandy and throws the bottle away as he says so. That's true. It is a silly monkey show. A lot of alumni standouts kill each other with a smile, and there is a soul and a mind that remain. There is no such thing that they have to sprinkle blood and leave on purpose. After all, it's foolish, the monkey show, isn't it? You also think so. I think that's a normal nerve, but I can't stop it. I can't stop the monkey show by any means. Both winning and losing converge on one result. There is a way to dispel the plan itself to the people, but it can't stop them simply by wasting their death. However, the 100-man Commander Grants shrugged his shoulders before he poured alcohol into his cup. I thought you were a supporter of the soul of Trot Kingdom. But you say a lot of cowardly things. Even if you say that, if you win or lose it, it is nothing, a futile situation. Oh yes. If you kill Bonaparte or if you give up the king, the winner will be convicted and will be the foundation of the next era. Both sides are aware of it, and it's a fight they want. Yes. So this fight can't be helped by intervention, so you give up. The enemy is strong, there are no weapons to win, no stones and no sand, so are you satisfied that you have done well? So you can forgive yourself. Without standing on the battlefield, then what do you want me to do? What do you want to stop? What result do you want? Think about what is wrong and try to raise your justice. 100. Man Commander Grants slammed his ceramic cup on the desk. Don't you leave everything alone. Do you think that with just a handful of help, everything is going to work? You just end up with the problem you want. You think you can save the person who really bet on life with just one arrow. Don't give up, it's nothing like a coincidence. What should I do? 100-man Commander Grants murmurs a bit more and bears me. What should you do? It depends on your justice. What does your justice want? What kind of future is good? Have you ever considered the means to do so? That is, I don't want the king, old man Bonaparte and the sword saints to die without permission. Parents have a duty to be respected until their death. They have an obligation to see the future of their children. They have a duty to be happy with the birth of their grandchildren. They have a duty to die peacefully, telling their children that they had a happy life. It should be so. It should have been so. My dad is an idiot who couldn't do that, and old man Bonaparte is a fucking bastard trying to give up. I don't think you'll be on time. All right, 10-man Captain Smithson. Human hands aren't attached to wield weapons. You can also make something. Holding someone's hands. The voice can talk about any dream and love, and the feet are able to go anywhere. You're not so clumsy that you can't understand it. I watched 100-man Commander Grants who continue to drink alcohol at a high pace. I felt awake. Yes, that's right, ha 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 ha. What did you forget? I forgot, yes, that's right. Not a human who is good at killing and solving, nor a nobleman who carries a nation. There was no need for such means and reason. Thank you, 100-man Commander Grants. Bomo, I leave 100-man Commander Grants who is about to close his eyes and Eric alone and hurry back to the inn. Selenium. Hilda. San, Wa, Andy. Cohen. Yo, you look revived. I went back to the inn and hurried to talk to them. What? I want you to make poison. What poison? Yes, If possible, it's easy to paint on arrows, not detoxify so easily, and it numbs the target instead of being lethal. What are you going to do? What is all this about? Will you use it for the Sword Saint Brigade? Yes, I nodded strongly. First of all, we will stop the Sword Saint Brigade without dying. Chapter 73. Andy's Fight, Diane's Fight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They're not allowed to win or lose this fight. Parents who are satisfied without permission in such a dying way aren't admitted. They think they made their own time, and because they got one at the end of their own time, they couldn't believe what they had built. That's right. Even if I were a parent, I might think so. Hilda takes care of my wounds as I was beaten and cut and looks up while using a medical light skill. Parents will be sensitive to the slack and mistakes of their children only by the amount of time they have spent on their children. I think they were wrong about their upbringing and their actions to show to their children. BVEC Selenium nods. The people of Trot Kingdom now have been a little kind to other races as a policy, but they think that it is an unfair compromise. Because the country loses, they don't refuse to be pressed and are looking at foreigners and other races as a symbol of that. Would I take that I was beaten? I think it's such an idiot that there's a pretty ripped off like this everywhere. No, but they've always been involved in the whole bar area, and can't they think of the country? It may be a diplomatic issue. And the king and nobles who are the parents of this country have a feeling of blockage of the people as symbolized by them. They might have had a sense of crisis in the loser's guts to reject others and run away from each other and gain rest. They lost because they lost. They didn't want to win because they couldn't win. If they got into such simple thinking, this country is certainly not accustomed to losing. But still, there is the future and the power to go there if they can show it clearly, and they think that a flashy coup d'état is the answer. I don't admit that. Hilda's hand leaves my lips. I confirm it and stand up. It should be more important to have your parents live than what you can get in such an act. That's right. I look at Selenium. That strikes a subtle nuance. Selenium gave a slightly troubled, frustrated look that she often makes when speaking of my fortune. Isn't it all about happy parent and child? Selenium, I see. For Selenium, parents are like that. There is a parent who dislikes the child and regrets the existence of the child, too. But Selenium, can you be such a parent when you think of your child? Even if your and my child is born, won't you be happy to be a parent and a child? I put on a spiteful expression. Selenium can't imagine other than that. I don't want to repeat my childhood, but I do have a really happy vision. From the fortune of a half-elf, it is only to imagine in fragments from the appearance of other parents and children. But I hate it. I want my child to love his parents and ancestors. With all my heart. It's the son of Andy Smithson, the grandson of Peter Smithson, even the son of Selenium. I don't want my child to experience what I have tasted. I couldn't do it with my parents. I couldn't boast that I was happy. I wasn't told that it was good to be born and to be a good child. I don't want to be such a disappointing parent who dies by himself and is satisfied with it. It's useless unless it's a pinning parent until he sees his child properly. I agree. After holding her hand tight in front of her stomach, Selenium looked at me with a firm look. Then, I also, let you become such a mother, of course, absolutely. I see. For that, I will never die. Absolutely. The opponent is the Sword Saint Brigade, a group of selected superhuman swordsmen. It is impossible to be absolute. But I promise to be absolute. In spite of the close midnight, Selenium and Hilda completed the numbness poison before dawn. However, it is said that the anesthesia of the hand was formulated and concentrated. The lethality of the poison itself is low, but be careful because the arrow of the crossbow is originally high in lethality. Besides, if they fall in this snow, if they don't give first aid to their companions, they will have hypothermia anyway and will die. Understood. Upon receiving the bottle of the medicine that has been prepared, I confirm my possession. It is a crossbow that has been used for 7 years. When I touch it, I know it's fine. The worst punishment and fines will await me, because of the unauthorized removal of the squadron's gear, but I'll accept it after everything is over. Well then, Selenium, Apple, please, yes, are you leaving N0's.San and the others behind again? They have something to do on their own. I am going to drink again from now on, I'm going out in the name of drinking, and head north. I am not a member of the group now, not a person involved in the operation. It is another act on that premise. I only asked Selenium and Apple for help. The illusion magic of Selenium is defensive. Apple can use divination magic. Although it is divination, it can't predict the future. Half-elves don't believe in destiny, the will of God, or anything like that. Its true identity is the wide area perception using the flow of chi and the magic to convert it into 5 senses. Diane also uses it. Or more precisely, these two magics are the key to long-distance battles of the crossbow corps. You can do anything with magic, but the power you can handle at once is small. Putting out a flame, putting out a blizzard. It tears the earth and causes a storm. If you don't know the real elves, or their magic, you tend to imagine the offensive behavior of these acts, but basically, you can't do that and it was a waste if you could. However, direct intervention in human perception requires much less power than actually manipulating physics to cause such phenomena. The magic used in the war focused on here and the illusion became mainstream. Strategic misinformation, illusion concealment, virtual image core, March Vegas. There are many places where lies act effectively in war. But elves and dark elves are, by convention, not very likely to join soldiers except warriors and other races have a limited number of magicians. Therefore, the illusionist has become a kind of special unit by itself and has long been devoted to the disturbance until the frontal confrontation. It is Diane who opened a way to boost the war power locally by operating it with a new weapon called crossbow on its own front and defeating the enemy. The ultra-long range beyond common sense can be limited first by human perception. Many human perceptions don't recognize the target 1 kilometer away. First of all, if you break it with perceptual amplification magic and then misrepresent your arrows and your current location with an illusion. It is the birth of an ideal sniper team. Where did the shot come from, where should they hide? Even enemies who don't know it amplify their fears with each other and breaks up. I'm not the same as the sniper of the North Elf even if I work hard alone. Still, I'll do it first. Neither victory nor defeat is made. If it is said to push through, the thread is first prone. If the old men are going to revolutionize the kingdom, I will revolutionize the old men with my tactics. The Sword Saint Brigade has begun to move forward. People are pretty much attached. That would be so, report by Apple's divination. At present, the old men were at a distance of 4 minutes from the post town to the royal capital. There is indeed a master swordsman. I don't know how many years he has retired, but he looks like about 80-year-old. Certainly, it will be difficult with the 1-week walk marching to the side of the boat, which was taken long ago. Aim at that master swordsman old man. I'm sorry, there isn't enough room to be targeted by strong guys. I set the arrow. I aim for the foot of the old master swordsman in the sensitization that has been sensitized to the limit. And shoot. A direct hit, the old man fell over again. The surrounding people scream. The old sword saints roam and look around. Even in a hard find forest, it is not possible to find us because we also cast an illusion of space fixation. Bingo, next one. No, let's escape. It seems that old man Bonaparte has predicted the place from where the arrow came from the arrow's trajectory. I began to hide with everyone in the shielding around here. If they know that there is no continuous fire, they will rush here. For now, it's -1, if there were no people around us, the minus would be 2 or 3 though, if there is no support, the combat personnel will be put to nursing. However, people seem to turn to nurse if it is that old master swordsman, one person thanks to the men and women who paraded while making a speech. By night, I reduced their number by 3. By the time we enter the post town, we withdraw as far as possible. It works well. I don't know, if you look only at the number, it is nearly 10%. The other party is the Sword Saint Brigade. It is not surprising that a medal will be awarded in the war. However, the other party is the completely defeated Sword Saint Brigade. Even if they are reduced to half, they will probably have a fierce battle against the enemy 10 times the amount in the royal capital. The soldiers' method of operation, which Diane said, does not apply to them. The soldiers who intend to live to win and those who don't have the honorable defeat premise are fundamentally different from each other. You can't be too far away. Do you want to stay up all night here? Yes, after a long time sleeping outdoors, Selenium, I did it quite a lot while looking for Andy, though I spent a cold night with those two in a small valley. And, at the beginning of the preparation, I saw a torch far away. Mountain hunting. Have they been searching for us from the direction of our sniper? They don't think that it is an attack by the number of only 3 people, but we can't afford to fight now whether the other party is the people or the Sword Saint Brigade. It is too much to win with a crossbow against a large group. Selenium, Apple, we are found. Let's get away. Selenium, jump down. A few quick shadows appeared behind Selenium by climbing the slope to look for the bark of firewood. It was old Sword Saints. It means that it is not the only one who has faded like the old Sword Saint from before. Hiya. Selenium escapes the hands of the old Sword Saint and we fall down the cliff. Hair's breadth. But there are several Sword Saints. My firepower is a crossbow. What will I do? Unlike Selenium, Apple can't protect herself. The Sword Saints recognize us and slide down the slope. Shoot. It takes 20 seconds to wind up after shooting. What to do with just one shot? Shit, checkmate so fast. No, not yet. Take this. I picked up the crossbow and cried out to the nearby Sword Saint. Startled, the Sword Saint stopped moving. Selenium and Apple have a startled look. Yup. It would be startled. It's just a bluff. The Sword Saints haven't taken anything. Good job to lure out a small number. Abandon the sword and put your hand on the ground. You're surrounded. The Sword Saint stopped moving. Apple and Selenium slowly come to me and look around. Of course, nothing must be found out. But, I can't help but continue the bluff while having cold sweat. What happened? Cuckoo, if you think about what to say, one of the old Sword Saint barely held the sword firmly and turned it straight to me. Do you think that we are now willing to spare our lives and beg for forgiveness? It was so. In the first place, I wasn't the first person to bluff. Who is surrounded in the first place? I don't know what kind of command aimed at us, but using paralyzed poison or a weak woman like this, Celesta's art is totally not understandable, damn it. Even if I didn't surrender, I wondered if I could get away with haste. After all, it is useless. I told you to throw away your sword and put your hands on the ground, what? It's not my line now, right? You are enclosed. You're the ones that came out in small numbers, so you are easy to hunt. The voice echoes in the valley and I don't understand the sound source well. But that voice was beautiful, frightening like a wolf that hid the joy and once enough to discourage the Sword Saints again. Who is it? Show yourself, last notice. Throw away your swords and put your hands on the ground. The voice brutally rejects the request of the Sword Saint, including a little frustration. The Sword Saints have been jingling for a while and then wait for attention, and they don't rush away. There are dozens of arrows flying in an instant. Booga. At the same time as sowing the feet of the Sword Saints on the ground, 3 people fly in the sky and stand in front of the Sword Saints. Freeze, abandon your swords, you lose. And zeros, Aurora and regular soldier Mikagami. And from among the surrounding mountains and forests, soldiers carrying crossbows, the crossbow corps appears. Everyone, What are you doing, Andy? Jumping down from the top of a nearby tree, Diane stared at me. I can see Hilda, Layla, Jean and Maya in the crossbow corps. How do I explain? I don't want to bother you. I don't care because I've been removed. Because what I do is my own selfishness. Everything is too cool to say. Then, for me who was full of answers, Isaac gave a helping whistle while laughing. Ha, we heard everything from Hilda. Sensei, Williams nodded beside Isaac. Are you going to catch them all alive? Your opponent are the decaying Sword Saint Brigade, so you come up with such an idea, everyone starts off with it and comes close to me. You're going to die in front of your lover, because you're in front of your female slaves, you try to be cool, I'm overwhelmed by the style of 10-man Captain Smithson, one by one, my head is poked. But when that was done, Diane smiled and said. But why don't you consult with me, keeping them alive is a good idea. We can frustrate that nasty king's plan, that's right. It was perfect if you hadn't done it alone. Everyone in the crossbow team raises the mood. But the danger level will rise. I can't be killed, it's my plan, don't misjudge, Isaac struck my back. The dangerous bridge is prepared from the beginning. Right 100-man commander. But I didn't think that Smithson will run away first, everybody smiles with ease. And finally, Associate Soldier Boyd scratched his head and said, I also agree with 10-man Captain Smithson, I want the parents to believe in their children. And I will become a parent who can believe in his children, oh, I see. This is a guy that didn't always believe in his parents. What, Boyd, you want to be a parent? How far is it with Sylvia? How far? You were the only one who believed that I would carry on a pure relationship. Boyd is kicked by another soldier all at once. Being greeted by them, I returned to the crossbow corps again. We returned to the capital once with the carriage and Layla that was placed nearby. In the base of the tent which was made near the highway in the north, Diane gathered the 10-man captain again and began the meeting. There has been no change in the operation so far. Divide into 2 platoons and cover each other while withdrawing alternately. The front is protected by N0's team. And I will be on a frontal battle when Sir Bonaparte comes out, can I help you too? Layla and Maya have something else to do, Diane pointed at the end of the map. Polka direction. I want you to be able to fetch the water of the miraculous spring from Polka. In rotation, what, in rotation? Yes, this fight is honest, no matter how bad it happens. I have also confirmed with my own eyes that the miraculous water can cure anything if you are not dead, but there is no effect over half a day. That means it's not worth taking it out, that's why we are going to let Layla and Maya get it. I see, with dragon's wings, it is possible to bring it to the capital before the effect runs out. All crossbow arrows should be painted with the mixture from selenium and my sister. Don't aim for the key points, and withdrawal is quick. The more you attract, the more stress it has on N0's team, but if we can't do it, it will be a burden for 100-man commander. No matter how many people are left of the great sword saints, there will be no victory. It's too late for that. It may not be in time, Diane took a breath and said to everyone, before gulping down a cup of well water. It's okay, this is the first strategy not to die. We won't let either the enemy or the ally die. It can't die. It will create hate, it will make the battle go, it will be that. That's what the king thinks, it's the best if no one really dies, Williams says so a bit selfishly. Williams agrees to the fight we're talking about, but in terms of whether it is actually possible, it will still have to be evaluated as an unreasonable task. But in the previous war, I defeated them unilaterally. I won without my men dying. Even that was said to be impossible at that time. But I did it, the situation is different from that time, that's right. There is no identical war anywhere, one beat later. The situation is different, this is different from the previous war. Celesta doesn't have to beat Trot now. The conditions for victory are different, a fight where no one dies. Williams, if the other side lets you do that, I have always dreamed of it. Diane smiled out of place. I was called the child of battle, I was feared as the war god and I kept on kicking the enemy in rage, but I always think after the battle is over. Is it nothing but killing? Is there a fight that neither the enemy nor allies will protect? Williams, this is my dream fight. I will make my dream come true. Selfishness disappeared from Williams's mouth. The dream, Diane says, is not just a dream, it is a beautiful equation spread before a genius. It was something that the goddess in front of us could probably do. Jesus, Mari. We will help you with that dream. William smiles with enthusiasm, putting his fist on his left chest and stretching his back. Everybody follows him. Layla and Maya were laughing with joy. The declaration of war was held with a single arrow. From the capital city of Trot to the first post town of Canzoni, from which there is a band that is regarded as a rebel regardless of costumes and to attack. And to the extent that I regret, we have stated the recommendation of unconditional surrender. However, there is no way for them to obey. As you might expect, 30 or more of them marched to the town of Canzoni in a stately manner. Good, it's finally starting. The head of the deployed squadron is the Smithson squad and the Williams squad. We withdrew after a maximum of 3 shots. It is now supposed to leave behind to the rear guard Isaac and Kairon. Diane casts a spell. The crossbow stock mediates the distribution of the magic effect to us and the sense is strengthened at a stretch. Still, at 800 meters, I saw the Sword Saint Brigade ahead and set up my crossbow, and I noticed something strange. There are not even 20 people, including the old man. 10. Man, Captain Smithson, isn't the number of people less? Yes, what does that mean? Damn, Smithson squad stop firing, minute search operation. Did they save even a few handpieces, or did they split up? The increase in uncertainty comes at a cost. I don't know when the blow comes. That's also, the other party is great sword saints. Although we can't do anything wrong with the declaration of war, we were still at a loss. And the Williams squad who started shooting is almost out of the first attack. Cool, it is indeed the Sword Saint Brigade. Don't you think you skipped training? That's fine, roll up the strings. The ogres will pull the strings of the next guy. We can't go too far after the first strike. It's like asking for a quick fix. Smithson squad set up, shoot. I order my squad and they shoot the arrows immediately. However, the idea that the old man takes the timing and makes everyone take evasive action isn't done. Williams' squad switched to sweeping at regular intervals. 100. Man commander, aim. Coup 100. Man commander. Williams' squad aim to change. Smithson squad, keep on checking as it is. Diane is hesitating. And she suddenly orders the Williams squad to turn 90 degrees. I wondered and look at the newly aimed position while winding up the strings. In front of Isaac's squad. Nothing, no. Things like running water are moving. Wait, that. Hiding in an illusion. The Sword Saint Brigade also has a magician. Done. Such a card. Even for humans, about 1 in 50 people have the ability to use magic like elves. Despite the fact that it is a rare talent that isn't so different from the martial arts of the sword, humans can't use magic. The arrows of the Williams squad, who were thrown away and let go, paralyzed one person, but more than a dozen sword saints came into the pocket of Isaac's squad. And Isaac is cut, the illusion is solved at once and the remaining sword saints rush. Isaac throws his crossbow and throws rocks around him to intimidate the sword saints, but it is not very useful against the great sword saints who cut the rocks. Isaac's squad collapses. The members of Isaac's squad are blown off by shockwaves one after another, throwing out the crossbow and running away. Isaac grabs the sword saint that was going to kill him there and throws him behind with every effort. Isaac could have crushed him, which is bad, so not to kill him he throws him away. Isaac was a lawful person at such times. But the rest of the sword saints swing their swords to the fleeing soldiers. One fell down. 2 people fell down. The sword saints try to stab them. One was desperate Isaac, but the other wasn't, from the position of Isaac. And, instead, Boyd jumped and helped. Smithson. I'm called by N0s suddenly. I can't afford to look around. If we don't shoot here, we will be killed by the old men. While I was watching the Isaac squad for tens of seconds, the old men came back and ran towards here. Damn. Shoot. Shoot. But it will be avoided soon. As long as there are eyes of an old man, a direct hit is difficult. I can't but say I didn't shoot. And Diane and N0s can't move in front of us because the old man is in the main unit. While doing such a thing, Isaac's squad is annihilated. Damn. I saw Isaac's squad. It seems that Isaac and Boyd prevent the pursuit of the injured person, but it is as if it were a sand mountain in front of the waves. Williams. Another shot. Another shot towards Isaac and Boyd, good in 10 seconds, okay. Diane shouts. 10 seconds is, yeah, understood. That's why we're making a profit and death only extends a little. Swallowing those words, Williams fires for support. And by the time it landed on the sky in the south, one of the fastest flying dragons rushed over the city of Kenzoni. What? Fly dragon, is it a flying dragon service? Those guys are useless. They have never been put into battle and transport is limited to 3, including the sentry of jockeys. I don't know what it is flying for, but it won't overturn the war. I thought. The next moment, an unbelievable thing happened. The sword saints who approached Isaac are blown away all beautifully in the same direction. Isaac's squad is taken care of. I was in time, Diane smiles. When I noticed, I saw a familiar man standing in front of Isaac's squad. 100-man Special Duty Commander, Becker. Yes, he is the only one available during this emergency. That way of talking hurts, running a few hundred meters in tens of seconds at once, suddenly appearing at our place and listening to the talk. That's 100-man Special Duty Commander Becker. Are you ridiculous? Well, let's start the fight here. Ah, Becker, this time it's not good to kill, Yuwa, that kind of handicap. I'm glad I just finished them with a kick. When I look at it, Diane pulls out a sword and shoots slowly at Bonaparte's direction. It's no longer enough to use the crossbow. Let's go back, Andy. From here on, it's their job. Inspired by N0s and Aurora, we begin to withdraw. The Feast of the Warriors was about to begin. Chapter 74. Children's Answers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though I ran away without helping in the fight, my sense-enhanced eyes caught the whole story of the fight. N0s, let some people go after Becker to clean up. Yes. Mikagami, Bronson, and Elliot will capture the enemy soldiers defeated by 100-man Special Duty Commander. After that, they will support Isaac's squad withdrawal. Understood. Even in Azeroth's squadron, the 3 men of high combat power overtake us and run toward Isaac's squadron. In front of their eyes the great sword saints, who are beaten down and groan, disappear. Mikagami.san, this is, it's magic. The soldiers who use illusion magic are still hiding. N0s gives quick instructions to Mikagami.san and the others who look back. TSK, give priority to Isaac's squad withdrawal. If we send Selenium or Layla around, we can break the illusion. There's no way to beg for nothing. Mikagami.san and the others who hurriedly changed their course went beside Isaac's squad. And in front of N0s and Diane, fighting is slowly approaching. It's a hugely avant-garde. Among the N0 squad, the soldiers level can't win against a knight class except for regular soldier Mikagami.san. If the opponent is the Great Sword Saints, then the regulars will go down a step as avant-garde and give way to the Ace Knights. Inevitably, beautiful girls such as Diane, Aurora, and then Zeros will be on the forefront. Certainly, it cannot be said that it is gorgeous. I'm not gorgeous, sorry, 100. Man Special Duty Commander Becker, who says that a little sulky. Yeah, he has a nice face, but certainly, he is not gorgeous. It is only Bonaparte who is stunned to see the Special Duty Commander Becker and the old sword saints who are behind him have a firm stance on their feet. Is that the fast-paced swordsman nicknamed Daydreamer Sieg Becker who was enshrined when he surpassed Dancing Spear Almeida and Gale Dingil? Not so strong, you've seen it just now. You will be killed if you're careless. Well, after all, is he famous in that line, Daydreamer? I don't really know what a daydreamer is right now. You brought me a man who was so awkward and fun, but here are 17 great sword saints and you have 3 ace knights, including the war god it is for. You have some nerve. Why, it's nothing more than you who came to us. Diane is unbearable. Is that also a bluff or? Don't make light of the Sword Saint Brigade, little girl. Our Royal Sword Saint Brigade. There is no shortage of the number of people. Let's show it through even 1,000 people. The old sword saints come in color. But Diane doesn't move. Barking boys, and Diane shakes her hand. Arrows come flying from overhead. What? Aren't you afraid of friendly fire? The sword saints who are quick to dodge, but several people were hit by the arrows and fell. Unfortunately, our crossbow corps are highly trained. Diane says those words majestically. Members of the, certainly, none of our corps members can shoot apples 100 meters away. It is a SAG training to have achieved that through the treatment of the crossbow is simple compared to an ordinary bow, and even though Diane's perception enhancement magic is also high effect. Diane starts the fight while manipulating everything skillfully as if the command itself is magic. 17.2.4, make me laugh. 17.2.100. My corps are helpful teammates. Coup. You. Sir Bonaparte to receive the kick of power, such as Diane's cavalry assault, he throws out a light shock wave with one arm. Even then, with a light shock wave of one arm, he couldn't stop, but Sir Bonaparte slipped a few meters and retreated, scraping the pavement with his iron shoe toes. Falter. There are only 4, if you push through then there are only weak rear guards. The great sword saints shake their swords and make an assault. But before they can change their walking speed, accurate shooting makes the equally spaced fence at the feet of the sword saints. Qua. Diane's made a sighting in the sight of the member in the illusion and has been helping the sniper instruction. To produce it separately for each member, it seems to be the most delicate skill that can't be done by a person like Diane, but the battle to enable the attack is certainly an effective tactic to be able to calculate the force of 100 people as it is. Now Diane attacks. And Zeros emits a shock wave. Aurora crosses swords with the sword saints and 100. Man Special Duty Commander Becker pushes back several great sword saints at a rate such as alter ego. A storm of arrows attacks the great sword saints aiming for a chance to take them down. The aim that Diane directs is accurate and never hits her allies. Arthur Bonaparte. War God Diane. But that's it. We lost without meaning. We can now revenge that defeat by winning. Sir Bonaparte exploding win is a rising exploding shockwave. It's like a tornado shattering the surrounding houses, but it doesn't work for Diane. Gah! Diane also shot 2 consecutive shockwaves with a kick and they were caught just before the gust occurred. Is Diane advantageous in agility and readiness? But not yet. To Diane who collapsed in posture by kicking those 2 shockwaves, a shockwave is hit immediately from the side by the sword that Sir Bonaparte returns. This cannot be prevented indeed. Gua! Diane is blown off wonderfully. But just before her body is slammed to the ground 100. Man Commander Becker made the rescue. It's safe. Coup, Becker, you support and Zeros and the others. I know, but let me be cool too. While running down the wall, He let Diane down and 100-man Commander Becker pulled out a knife with both hands and headed toward Sir Bonaparte while holding on the reverse. Sieg Becker. I am honored you know me. 100-man Special Duty Commander Becker bounces forward and unleashes 7 slashing attacks with kicks towards Bonaparte. I couldn't even see his attack if my sense wasn't strengthened. However, most of the attack still received Bonaparte. It's fast. But, it's an ace knight. Another exciting shock wave. The townscape of the post-town Canzoni becomes dustier. However, Special Duty Commander Becker turns behind in an instant and dodges it. Yes, an ace knight, really, you don't want to dodge. The top speed of the moment, for now, seems to have exceeded the prediction of Sir Bonaparte. A slight margin disappeared from his expression. I heard that you're as fast as the war god, but it's like sheep's skin, what about that? The fact that being an ace knight is itself a high believe, it is said that you're Kika's best ace knight. I'm not happy with such a name, though. Special Duty Commander Becker and Bonaparte changed their stance at the same time. The Special Duty Commander also had a different face. He has a battle junkie's face with eyes open and pasting pleasures on the face instead of the usual bad middle-aged face. Let's do it. Gaga gaga. No longer understandable, even with a strengthened sense, I can't follow their fight. Unexpectedly, Zeros and the others still continue to dominate the battle against the great sword saints even though the support was broken. Hiya. Say. Zeros makes a quick cut and Aurora attacks the enemies around. Even if Aurora has missed an enemy, the other escorted infantry strikes and pushes them back. Even if the other party is old, they are still sword saints. Every sword saint uses shockwaves. Even with that, we avoided the cooperation with a single thread and maintained the front while inviting each other to strike. Cool, what, for such little girls? I am an adult. I'm telling you, you're younger than me. While making trivial refutation. You will never pass through here, we will go gracefully. For the dignitaries of the Sword Saints, the pair of back-to-back pairings are very good and reliable and allied infantry is boiling up and the enemy's Sword Saints are jealous. And after glaring at each other. Let's all withdraw. It is not time to scatter. A voice rang from the sky, and the Sword Saints began to withdraw with a face that chewed a bitter worm. There you are. When Diane throws a stone, the illusion disappears and an old man comes to light. It's a rather sturdy swordsman, but was he in charge of the illusionary tactics? Kanuoto.Dono. The old man is covered by Sir Bonaparte, as another shock wave is released and instead of being blinded he withdraws. Now, the Royal Capital's Academy, it was the Academy president called Kanuoto. Shit, the old men of this country are all the same, Diane says so with a spit. Anyway, the tactless military people, even the knowledge group wouldn't participate in this battle without trusting this generation. We once withdraw to the base. Isaac's squad suffered several injuries, including Isaac, but we were relieved to find out that he wasn't dead. However, there are some who were in danger without Hilda. Sensei Mikagami has a cloudy expression. Even though they fought that much, only 4 sword saints were trapped or captured. There is a possibility that we will be cut off in the long run as it is. With this breakthrough failure, that old man might switch to a quick fight ahead of the dark assault. I feel disappointed to 100-man Special Duty Commander's words. I hope that Layla will come back soon. The miraculous springs water is calculated from Layla's flight speed and she needs to be here till the end of the day. If she doesn't make it in time the effect of the spring water will be useless. Layla.Sama, I see at the moment. Maya, who was looking at the northern sky at the exit of the tent, tells me of Layla's arrival. The water she carries will be a rain of grace to Isaac's squad. We got out of the tent and waited for her arrival. Where is she? Andy.Sama, you may still see only a point. I look closely at where Maya points. A black shadow is getting bigger and bigger. Yup. That silhouette belongs to Layla. A lightning-like flash blew up from under Layla. Layla is hit directly by the flash and falls. Layla. Sama what does that mean? I was careless, the Sword Saint Brigade, Dragon Slayer. I nod with Diane. Hilda. San, please come for a moment. It's an emergency. Maya, go help, Layla. In your dragon form. Yup. Maya poses and descends as a blue dragon on the snowy field during dusk. Me, Diane and Hilda ride on her back in a hurry. Layla was lying naked in the snowy field, smeared with a lot of blood and fragments of the wagon that was supposed to be packed with the water of the miraculous spring. Layla. 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 Chan. We get down next to Layla. She was torn roughly from the chest to the side. Ho, what, ouch, welcome, new, Layla. Hold on. The miraculous water. Maya, quickly bring some water. Diane gives instructions, and Maya looks for a safe one from the water bags scattered around. Ouch. This. Let me freeze it just in case. If it's still effective, it won't freeze. Polka's miraculous spring water is fetched and the effect lasts only for half a day. And if it loses its effect, it becomes just water. The presence or absence of the effect can be determined by freezing. Maya holds a water bag in her hands and blows cold air. It didn't freeze. Good, take it, yo, you take this cold water out in this cold. I'm an idiot. When we tried to pour it on Layla, a stone flew from somewhere. Before it hit my hand, Diane knocked it down. When Diane saw the direction of the flight and whispered something, an illusion was blown off and Bonaparte came out from the inside. He carries the Dragon Slayer in his hand like dragging. Arthur Bonaparte. I dropped the dragon with great pains. Oh, it can't be helped, you anger sprouts in my belly. I can endure being targeted, but did you try to kill Layla, who just flew by? Wait, owner, when I bite my teeth and tried to expose the killing intent to Sir Bonaparte, Layla pulled my hand and stopped me. Layla, this isn't your justice, but Layla smiled and shook her head, exposing the painful wound on her beautiful limbs. That's it. Layla doesn't want me to bend justice for her, even if she's dead. You're a loyal-looking man, dragon, Sir Bonaparte strangely says so respectfully and tries to provoke me. Really? Bonaparte is also impatient. Knowing our intention to fight and scatter, even trying to stop him. He wants to take it to the ideal way to scatter. Even so, the only way to kill an extra person is still a straight-up sword. Layla, ho, you're my proud dragon, don't die yet. I want to go around the world with you. Andy, my dragon is the kindest and strongest being in the world. I'm glad, really, you're a man who says good things. Stroking Layla's head, I poured the content of the water bag onto Layla's chest and stood up and stared at Sir Bonaparte. Don't think it will go your way, old man, Sir Bonaparte snort and left. Jean screamed when we brought the fallen Layla into the camp. Elder sister Layla. After losing consciousness on the way, Layla has not woken up yet. Jean bursts into tears to the painful sight of Layla and we quickly sew up the wound and bandaged it. I'm going to kill him, that damn human. Jean grabbed her hammer as it is and I hold her who is about to run out of the field. Wait, step aside. I'll kill you if you disturb me now. It's the first time Jean has been so furious. But that may be true. Jean is a child who was despised in her colony and was helped by Layla. Layla, who is like a parent to Jean, was harmed by surprise, so she is angry. However. No. I won't step aside. I can't go aside. I won't let anyone die. 10. Man captain. That is my justice that I declared in front of Layla. So, for Layla, I don't bend. If you really want to kill me, then kill me. Jean, showing her teeth, Jean intimidates me at the last moment. If that really matters, Jean's hammer will be able to mince me in an instant. Diane looks at me anxiously and Maya wonders whether she should stop Jean or protect me. For a few minutes, Jean was glaring at me. Why are you so mean, 10-man captain? She let go of her hammer and Jean broke down. I gently hold that Jean and gently pat her shoulders. All right. We all help out. Honestly, how is it, Andy? After sending the crying Jean to bed, Diane asks me. We win while everyone is alive. Let's say we can do this, we will do it. But what then? I will persuade. People are no longer excited by Bonaparte's words. It is not a problem that it is now stopped after all. It's going to be a riot, right? What is it? But if so, I will persuade people. Is it the sword saints? Is it the great sword saints? It is not because they haven't revolutionized the people who have been yearning for trot. It was originally just a pretext, a monkey show. You're not a politician. I'm not saying that you are bad, but it is necessary. If you grasp the hearts of the people, the destination is absolute. What I am doing is irresponsible. I wonder if everyone wants such a thing. I don't want to think that way. Trot is full of humans. I want to believe that we can live in peace with gratitude and pride by holding hands. I'm still. I hate to let go of everything, let alone do it. Diane closes her eyes and shuts down. She is wondering how she can grant my selfishness. Because this person is such a person. Surely if I keep fighting against old man Bonaparte, she will surely keep fighting next to me. I think it's not pretentious anymore. That's the love of this person. If I think about it, all the women around me are good women. They accept my selfishness and calamity in kindness, give me the future and continue to believe in me. Even for those girls, I can't just give up. They think that I can really do it. A future that allows old man Bonaparte and the king to do what my father couldn't do. Such an ordinary life. Yes, yes, such a voice resounded in the snowy field at night. The declaration of war will be delivered again with an arrow. But that isn't a battle arrangement between the crossbow corps and the sword saint brigade. Just a letter of challenge. To Master Swordsman Arthur Bonaparte. I, Andy Smithson, apply for a duel with you. The place is the top of the royal capital's Karbama mountain and the time is noon tomorrow. Under the command of 100-man Commander Diane, the Celesta army promises to take pride and not to interfere. I will come by all means. I thought it was a joke. It's almost impossible to talk with you unless I do this. The old man came. I answered such a foolish letter dutifully. According to the guy, he was proud that he was born and never fought for a battle alone and never lost. It's a duel. What to bet, youth? What should we bet? Did you call the duel without deciding? I shrugged my shoulders while sitting on a rock to the old man who frowns with his eyebrows. I am not a swordsman. I am not a magician. I am not a decent blacksmith nor a scholar. I have only one pride. That I'm the son of Peter Smithson, a blacksmith from Polka in the Trot Kingdom. Okay. First of all, what should we bet? Listen to me, and answer properly. You've come so small. Is it good to put life in such a thing? I think it's not cheap if it's against the invincible sword saints. The old man put the sword he brought on a rock, opened his mouth after a long while and removes his cloak. Then if I win, you will swear that you will not stand before me. Is that okay? What can you do more than that? I laughed. This old man understands me well. I can't do anything. There are a lot of great guys around me, but what I could ever do is always just the first step and the idea of the mouth. I'm also good with sex. But I dare to open my mouth. I will protect everything. That's a very dashing thing. Ha, this is, excuse me. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry, really, ha. Oh yeah, if an audience, excuse me, but first the messenger. I don't need, what? Oh. Were you planning to come to see me at such a time? No, right now, all the plans are against it. Old man Bonaparte saw that I was standing without a sword and took out a knife from his luggage and threw it in front of me with the sheath. Unarmed in a duel isn't good, I came to save you. So how can I use a knife to save you, save? You always tend to dream and say insane things, but this time it's just about it. After smiling slightly, the old man made a raged expression that could kill a monster with only that expression. Don't make fun, brat. I grew up in the country without knowing anything. What did you know when you shook the tale abroad? You're going to save me. Don't be so conceited. 50 years of this trot swordsman isn't light enough to be saved by a brat like you. Ha, honestly, my heart got cold. But on my back are the friends who believe in me and the feelings of the women who love me like this. I'm neither shaking nor falling. No, I don't approve. I don't admit that the last 50 years of you could only produce something like that. What did you say? Your 50 years. The king's 40 years. My father's whole life. Linda. Sans half. Life. Surito Masters, Polka's Baron, my mother's life so far and the lives of those old sword saints. I grabbed my fist and took a fighting pose. There is nothing that I have won for 25 years in total. Still, I swung my fist. We were born by you. I hit. We admire you. I hit. Do you think that we won't be able to grasp the next era without the help of you? I hit with all my strength. What does this sword mean? Ruth Bonaparte, it's a revolution, former king. You will step down from the throne. Thank you very much. Will this I be defeated and you become the king? To be the king of this defeated country, that's right. No, it isn't a defeated country. Yes, I don't accept such a rant in my husband's country. Father Reina, my proud father. This trot you have built is your wife's pride. This beautiful land, that the trustworthy sword saints call the defeated country, I declare here. We will abolish the old king who forgot himself in defeat and restore this country again so that every citizen will look up to this flag with pride. Ruth. The future of our trot will not come out with bloody beginnings. Let's bear the 600-year-old history of trot, the trust of the 3 million people and the love of your beloved wife on our back. You see, you're a good king, father, and we prove you will be proud of us. Gardner, have you betrayed me? Ha ha ha, king. It is bad to make this Grand Duke to be a supporting role and to stand out. Yes, the old can't make the future. The future belongs to the children. I just remembered that. I continued to hit the old man while feeling the fear of the man, the reverence and the repulsion as the whole body shivered. Can you see the country that you built? Can you not see the pride that you have left? The craftsmen who continued to stretch their spines for you. And with Celesta, a film and the elves who feared you. The children who are born and listen to the legend of the sword saints. How much do you think there is? Don't think that it will take only 2 days to clean up after a violent life. Go, you, Gaa, I sit on top of the fallen old man and I swing my fist while crying. You're obliged to live and be respected. As long as you have your life gotten from heaven, you have the duty to be there as a yearning for the kids who admire you. If you want to express your pride to your children, keep telling. And hold your grandson, pamper them, see them grow up, keep them alive and don't die until you say that it was a happy life when there was a worth that you kept working hard. Goo, we think we're going to be strong. We're going to be strong in order to have a happy life without our loved ones dying. Good countries are all that. Parents, children, neighbors, friends. I will do my best to make it a country that can be spelled in a happy life forever. You, I don't approve that the king who worked the hardest or the old sword saints to die. I will definitely do it. Blood came from my fist. The old man's lips were bleeding and my fist, which wasn't used to anything more than that, had become worn out. And the old man was crying. Coo, oh, I hugged the crying old man. Sorry, we were like this, we were just the kind of parents we couldn't think of and we are sorry, I lost for the second time, order to the Sword Saint Brigade. The king has resigned. Immediately, attend the new king's enthronement ceremony. What is it? Sir Bonaparte hasn't returned yet. The Dark Elf of Celesta will come to hear, that's the king's abdication, it's too early. Repeat. King Ulysses abdicated. A new king is born. The Sword Saints shall attend the new king's enthronement ceremony as soon as possible, so, somehow, unusual, are we determined to commit guilty. Without Sir Bonaparte, we alone, is there any victory against the forces of the war god? Let's hear, Kanuoto. Dark Elf. What are you going to do with the Sword Saint Brigade, you? Oh, it's been a long time, President Kanuoto. No, it was a good exercise, exercise. It will be an exercise. No one will die, including military civilians. Have you heard that from my daughter so much? What does that mean? True meaning, there is no true meaning. I swear, well, let's just say that my daughter and her lover are a bit special. Hoo, here's the story. I hope this country will improve. A country with proud young people will surely grow. Let's raise the cup together. To that new king, he still needs old-fashioned old tales, I understood. Minister Ashton. Chapter 75. Part 1 Epilogue. Everyone laughs in that town. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My uncle said, it's not just that mass printing has come in yet. The dream is too much to eat with it, and laughed, and the age in the future is information. The sharing of information must eventually become a major industry. I hear that the newspaper is already spreading in the southern plains. In our time, it is decided that the report will acquire a big position in trot without fail. Then, it is decided that it is better to spit on the position as the news worker as early as possible. It is only an opportunistic principle of the aged person that the mind is fast. The times are always moving forward. So always a new age is made by the young. My uncle laughed in a bad mood. The 5th year of King Ruth I. In other words, 4 years have passed since the sudden regime change that year. In the lecture of the history of the Royal Capital Academy, there is only one scene, an event that is about to be told in too much time of the lecture of the Celesta War, but I haven't forgotten that there was a little mysterious movement at that time. At that time, I hadn't been able to drink alcohol, but I remember well what adults had been up on the night before the change of government. King Ruth, at that time, Sir Bonaparte's son, was never in the admission of the royal capital. On the contrary, he should have been admiring the rumor that Sir Bonaparte, the great sword saint, Arthur Bonaparte, is advancing to defeat the king. When the sword saints who came to the royal capital as ace knights respond, we should bring out the household before the royal capital comes to the battlefield, such a story was here in the city. However, it was interrupted with the report that they had engaged with a corps of Celesta once in Canzoni, and the next day, Ruth Bonaparte, who had the approval of Princess Reina and Duke Gardner, hijacked the royal castle. The town was plunged into chaos as the new king was declared to have been crowned. There was also the case that the armed forces revolution happened, and there was a puzzle that Arthur Bonaparte was the only father of King Ruth, and this was not a synchronized action. However, they flowed in vain, and for some reason, there was no apparent repulsion from the nobles of various places, and the royal right exchange was established. Succeeded with the blessings and support from Celesta, and quickly became the rightful king. Ruth immediately ordered the great sword saints who would have risen with his father and the sword saints who didn't move and the former king and his father Arthur Bonaparte. He ordered a metaphor to a wolf. And 4 years from that, the castle, which was occupied by Celesta bureaucrats, became increasingly populated with Trot people and became a bit more vibrant in the capital city of Trot. I didn't mind at that time, but I understand it now. We were frightened by the bottomless power of Celesta, and, far from resuming, we had given up even to stand up. There are other mysterious variations at that time. Although there was some exchange by the mediation of Celesta, the foreign students increased from the northern elf territory, which was a land of fear after all for the human race at that time. They were long-lived and good instructors and researchers than some humans. It also leads to martial arts and often crosses with the sword saints. To the famous story of the Celesta War, Celesta has a strong warrior called the War God, which is a female dark elf with no knight class and no big height, so she never stood out and you couldn't win against her with any unit. Even the Sword Saint Brigade lost in her intervention, although it is said, "I see it when I see the power of the elves." If they are long-lived species, maybe there may be such a miracle. Like existence. Celesta wasn't able to do that either because they were reluctant to admit the possibility of such a being, including ogres and human beasts. And the rumor is that Ruth's enthusiasm was behind the friendly exchange with them. It is only speculation to look at the time of the regime change, but if it is true, there is no choice but to forego her foresight, action, and ambition. If you think she is the enemy of Trot, you will be scared. Speaking of the merits of King Ruth, the resurrection of the Sword Saints issued last year has been widely taken up recently. For example, it was approved by Celesta to allow Ace Knights, who were once called Sword Saints and swordsmen who passed the test in Trot Kingdom, to be officially named Sword Saint. Thing. Despite only the name, the Sword Saints are a nation's pride and soul. Trot is still in the position of Celesta and the military command does not belong to the king. But instead of the simple and irresistible name Ace Knight, it was a great boost to the spirits of the swordsmen that this brilliant title returned to Trot. My uncle is both a scholar and a well-known swordsman, who wears the Ace Knight emblem. At this time, I asked him to replace it with the newly issued Sword Saint emblem, but my uncle laughed and shook his head. Swordsman is a swordsman. And I don't dislike the name Celesta's Ace Knight. I'm also proud to be standing with them. He may have his own policy. The most talked about in the recent first round of exams is the great sword promotion of Eric Randall, who is the idol of the Randall family and the idol of the Royal Capital Academy. He is also known as the last sword saint assigned by the former king, and he is a master of fine swordsmanship, and he vividly overwhelmed the other 3 swordsmen he fought with and slammed the sword to the ground. He is portrayed by many improvised painters. As one of my uncle's disciples, my uncle, who doesn't usually praise other people so much, commented in various ways on Randall San's brave appearance as he now sits as a lecturer at the Royal Capital Academy. However, at the next drinking party, Randall San left a humble comment, "It's still not enough. I still have people that I want to win against." That woman seems not so much interested in being a great sword saint. Is it about the war god? It's not that person. If you want to win against that person, it's not good enough to be a great sword saint. Do you know war god? Ha ha ha. After that, he lost his temper before and after with the alcohol, so I missed the details of the war god. I know that it is real. After that, I decided to go on a trip relying on this information. A woman who isn't interested in being a great sword saint while beating Randall San. And she is still young. It is a scoop. I would rather go to see her. My uncle had dropped his head on Randall San's head. Soon, the Royal Academy is busy with exams. I received a letter as his wish and got on a carriage to the north. The aim is the outlying Polka Autonomous Region. I knew for the first time that it was an autonomous region in the latest data. Polka is a famous town known as a temple for seriously ill patients who have been abandoned by the doctors. There is a legend that the water there is miraculous and can heal all illnesses and wounds except destiny. To tell the truth, this story isn't believed by 80% of the people in the royal capital and folklore. If there are really people dying their own, they will visit this land in the hope to cling to the last straw. However, I have to say that the journey is the worst. What is that road? Ups and downs, a full course of rocky mountain and dirt roads that aren't even barely developed. Other customers on the stagecoach also frowned. In the case of an acute patient who is dying, it may not be possible for them to take a breath on the way through this road with a horse-drawn carriage. We reached Polka with our tails between our bodies. I was surprised, to be honest. It's almost like trot. A large number of handsome and beautiful elves walk through the city and they are showing a relaxed appearance than in the royal capital. The townspeople also far from an unexpected stance on the elves shovel the snow or do carpenter work together. Speaking of snow and carpenter work, the abundance of ogres and dwarves is also spectacular. I wonder why there are so many ogres and dwarves in this city, but I also see figures such as fox beast people and cat beast people here, so it's very lively in this place. Speaking of which, I have heard about it. This city doesn't belong to Trot alone, but to many countries, as it is intended to gather people in search of the miraculous water. If so, it is reasonable that there are a lot of people from Celesta and a film and I can see a variety of faces. I convinced myself so much, but the next moment, my pathetic effort was to be blown in small pieces. A jet-black dragon flew through the sky just a few tens of meters above. It is not a flying dragon of the Celesta Army Special High-Speed Brigade. Flying dragons can't carry a carriage. Yua. After I was astounded, I was looking for a place to escape in a hurry, but the people of this city don't run away and instead wave their hands to the huge dragon. What's going on here? This is Layla. Sama, a friendly dragon. I can't say anything. Is it not the common sense of the world that people are afraid and flee from dragons? I can definitely say that everyone in the southern Great Plains where I studied abroad had fallen into depression. I felt as if I was lost in a foreign world and I went to a hotel near me and took a good rest for today. I might have been tired of the carriage journey. The next day, I refreshed my mind and headed to the Baron's mansion who ruled this city. There is also the letter of the Royal Academy that I was forced to bring here by my uncle. I wanted to ask the person in charge to explain the chaos in this town as well as my original coverage goal of the woman who was stronger than Randall. San. Then, when I pushed into the office of the Baron, there were 4 people in it. One of them was Duran Gutto the Baron. It is the owner of this mansion. The remaining 3 were marvelous people. One is the former king, Ulysses Ernest. The other is a great sword saint, Arthur Bonaparte. These 2 men showed their faces to the public many times at ceremonies, so I can't know them. The other one was a strange elf girl with silver hair. If it is unusual for elves to drink tea in the royal palace with Trot nobles, it is impossible for those 3 who are associated with each other to be seen in this town. You are. Who are you? Today's lunch delivery. Fast, old man, we're not just having breakfast, we are talking, ho ho ho, even if it's an elf. I'm worried about the Green Shaquille, Baron. If you say that to the Green Clan, do you look for war? Ha ha ha, keep it a secret. It was a surprisingly relaxing space. I heard that Sir Bonaparte and the former king have come to the resort at the recommendation of King Ruth. Although Ruth is prominent with a sense of cool-headedness and shrewdness, does that mean that he had an ordinary feeling for his parents? Cool-headedness, shrewdness. Ha ha ha, is that the time that Ruth said so? I became old. Not at all, the former king and Sir Bonaparte laughed, but I believe that this is a cool evaluation with nobody. More than that. What is with the chaos of this polka? Chaos, if you come here for the first time, you might be surprised. If you say so, it might be so. Irina. Dono, this young man's unwilling words, humbly forgive it, ho ho ho, do you think I get angry with the rant of this child? I am 21 years old this year, but I was treated as a child by this flat-chested female elf. Fortunately, I didn't say that she is a child. She is an adult. As an aside, I heard later that she is 157 years old this year. Elves are too mysterious. It is said that this land is a commemorative place for the interaction between the elves and the people of Trot. King Ruth wasn't a big deal, but rather it was that Baron Gutto was recognized as a friend of the elves. Then I politely think that it is King Ruth to squeeze in the shadows, but aside from that, this land is a testimony of the friendship between the northern elves and humans, and in a nasty way, it is a special law as a buffer zone said that it is an area to be governed. Although it is a place where King Ruth's dark spot has risen, I think that it is difficult to change the law in terms of balance with the Celesta's law in the current trot, but it seems like Celesta also is a little obsessed with this land. It is said that a 100-man commander of Celesta is stationed here. It is unusual. We are given the name of Trot Corps and we are the former Kingdom Army treated as the nominal side of Celesta, but in the south, I have heard many examples of allowing Celesta soldiers to leave to such an outback. However, they are actually present and some people have acquired something like temporary nationalities as this autonomous city people. And it was heard that the female swordsman I'm looking for is near the garrison of the 100-man corps and is in the new town where development began recently. When I walk in the city again, a lot of ogres, dwarves, and beast people have a Celesta accent. In other words, they are associated with the 100-man corps. If so, I'm convinced. No matter how much people in Trot gather together, such a diverse variety of people will not gather. I don't know what it is like, but this borough is part of the elf territory, Trot and Celesta. It is probably on the calculation that the existence of this area acts as a diplomatic advantage, as King Ruth's abyss. It is not strange if that king is that much. There are many children in the new city. It is a lively young city. Such a place feels good with hope for the future. A small child runs through in front of me. It may be an elf because the ears are sharp. A nearby woman helped the child who fell and cried. It is a young lady who is not different from me. Oh, are you a traveler? Seeing my face, the young woman smiled saying so. It's hard to see, but I got a little bit of a smile. It is a person who seems to be gentle. I hope she isn't married. Yes, I'm from the royal capital and I'm looking for someone from, wait a minute, dear. The lady shakes her hand with a full smile. A quick heartbreak. There is no time for me to hide. And because it was a huge ogre who rushed to the lady, it was the final blow. Though it is a woman of the human race. And she is so beautiful. Sylvia. Dear, this traveler is searching for someone. I see, I might be of help. The male ogre doesn't have a horn, but he is a soft man with a strange manner compared to his stern face. And there is a familiar emblem on his chest. Sword, Saint. Ah, yes, I passed the last exam. The ogre scratched his head in shame. Oh, I'm slow to say. I'm Arnie McRae. 10-man captain of the Celesta Northern Army 1st Crossbow Corps. I'm his wife, Sylvia, a perfect happy pair. I feel like a loser, meaningless. No. I have another purpose. I heard that there is a very strong female swordsman here. Female swordsman, a strong person. The two look at each other a little. Do you know? No, who is it? I think she is the strongest, because Randall.San, who had become a great sword saint the other day, said he couldn't win yet against her. The two look at each other again. Do you exclude Aurora.San? She hasn't held a sword recently. Excuse me, I can't win against her yet. Diane.San or N0's.San, maybe. Yes, but what about the old story of Commanding Officer Isaac's wife? Oh, yes, that person was also strong. I mean, Kate.San was also super strong, but maybe it's Layla.San or Maya. Chan, I want you to wait. Are there so many strong people? I intended to say that it was a great sword saint, that's it. The name should be written on the envelope I received from Randall.San. This person is called Angelina. Angelina Newman. Sylvia, do you know her? Who is it? There are strong swordsmen, but it seems that there is no Angelina Newman. I got stuck. I realized in about 30 minutes that it might be a pseudonym of someone else. If there is no one who remembers among the strong female swordsmen that they have listed, then, well, maybe it would be possible to write a book with coverage of this strange autonomous region alone. Sorry, Randall.San. So, when I went to a suitable store, I found a dwarf girl who sweats on her healthy skin. Welcome. Hello, LOO, an unknown face. Except for my family, you re the first guest in Smithson's armor store, I don't think it's much profitable. But this dwarf girl is pretty. Her body is small but she can't help it as she is a dwarf and she has a small chest bulge which pushes up the tank top. Is she 15, 16 years old? No, she is a dwarf, so she might be about 30 years old. It is good because she is cute. I hope she's not married. I'm looking for someone, it's not a customer. I'm disappointed, Yua. I have blatantly dropped off my shoulders. But I can't help it. I just have to find someone. Do you know who is Angelina Newman? You know N-Zeros. It's Angelina Newman, a name I've heard somewhere before, she thinks. And it seems that she gave up in 5 seconds. Listen to Apple or Selenium about it. I'm busy with store.keeping, horses' hooves batting and parenting. My sad voice broke into two, as being kicked off my request and that she was a midwife. Yes, half and half. Well, she is a pretty girl, someone probably already proposed to her. No. I'm not that much of a hetero. There is no regret. I'm sorry, but even so, who is that Selenium? San or Apple.San? The person named Selenium.San travels around here and there, so she doesn't go home very often. She is an adult, so you can't forbid her anything, so I went to Apple.San. I got lost on the way. No, not so wide. Just because there are only new housing areas and only similar houses, nothing is understood. If it is the capital, it is easy because there is no possibility of being lost because it is sectioned. When I was studying abroad, I often said, you have too much confidence in your sense of direction. Hey there glasses. Cohen, no, he is just like an elder brother. Next, I was stopped by two beautiful women again. One is a woman who has a beautiful beauty and the other is a woman who wears a white coat and has a soft atmosphere. It's a totally different atmosphere, but when I look closely they look like sisters, with similar looks and appearances. Hello, traveler. Yes, you're not a Bath tourist. No, Bath. Why Bath? Is that the entertainment district? I've been looking forward to it for a while. Is it here? No. That aside. I came here because a person named Apple.San knows the location of Angelina.San. Why are you looking for N-Zeros? No, I'm looking for Angelina.San, it's the real name of N-Zeros, I see. Is that so? Anyway, I would like to meet and ask her something. Who are you? The dark elf has awfully scary eyes. The person who softened it controls quietly. Aren't there people trying to do something else to Ans.Chan? But you're okay with Ans.Chan. Well, these days, she's a very serious person because of Maya, as a maid, right? Who is Maya? Which reminds me, it seems that the beautiful woman and the beast couple were talking about her before. No, before that, Angelina was stronger than Randall. It is here that I don't know the ceilings so much. What is this place? I am Charles Grants from the capital city, who aims to be a pioneer in mass communication. Grants. Are you the child of 100. Man Commander Grants? Do you know my uncle? Nephew. I see, nephew, hee. Diane.Chan, nephew. No, noisy. I'll give birth soon. I'm good at getting pregnant a little early. I feel like I'm listening to something fishy, but it's true that these people also have husbands. Isn't there a free beauty somewhere? It's Apple's fortune.telling mansion. If you want something to say, stop by later. No, I don't believe in fortune.telling. Uncertain information is the enemy of mass communication. Is that so? As soon as she turned, Diane quickly headed for Angelina.San's house, her favorite, and so on. And when we approach the door, she suddenly opens the door without knocking. Yeah, AAA, great, Iku, Iku. Andy, you're here. Andy.San, I came across a scene where two elf maids are being raped by a man in an untidy manner from behind. Diane immediately shuts the door and sighs. They are in the middle of something, looks like it was a shocking scene, but I'm a respectable adult who hides the agitation. Wah, Penis's response is quick, please leave me alone, don't say that with a straight face though you looked clean. After a while, I was finally able to enter the house. The two elf maids looked only fine as a maid by any means, but they both seemed to be good swordsmen. I am Angelina, a small and cute maid says with a sullen red face. It seems that she was worried about being seen. Rather than that, it is shocking that this person is Randall's goal. She was in the midst of sex a moment ago. It's from Eric. I miss it, it's a story mentioned by Boyd that he recently became a great sword saint, already McRae, and who is this man in the middle? Enjoying those two pretty girls. Nevertheless, Charles. Cohen was it? Why did you come to such a place instead of a postman? Diane talks to me. That's right. But, it seems that Angelina.San is no longer in the mood for an interview. This is interesting. I didn't think that King Ruth had created such an interesting area. I will be a pioneer in mass communication in the future. No, it was annoying to explain. I am a disgusting person who can talk about my intentions and ideals if I say talk, but there are many things I want to hear from people in front of me rather than my usual self-telling. I want to write a book. Tell me, why is this district like this? How did it become so? Why, I can tell you, at first it was a rest of Isaac and Boyd, but, you have to talk more than before. The man and Angelina in front look at each other with a strange expression. But, they nod. It may not fit in one book. I want to hear it, they smiled with joy and started talking. Alright, yes, at one night 20 years ago, I met a little bit of a fall. In love half-elf. Chapter 76. Black Dragons Fall in Love Syndrome. Layla, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Dragons are the continent's strongest race, combining marvelous combat power with vitality, perception, resiliency, and magic. They are too strong to find countermeasures in other current civilization zones, and there is a clause which considers itself taboo to touch such an existence. It's good to have them on your side, but once they turned into an enemy they can't be stopped by rare means. And in modern society, the enemies and allies of individuals tend to be vague, and allies for individuals aren't necessarily allies of the general public. There is almost no society where individuals with too strong power can beat the public. Dragons are a creature outside the social system. There is no record that a sense of duty to protect an unspecified number has grown in dragons, although friendship with individuals can be concluded. When an individual and society conflict, dragons extinguish society. After all, a society that has inadvertently touched the dragon almost certainly will end up destroying the vortex of the power of the dragon without being able to handle it. That is the end of the one who received the dragon as a force. That's why, I can't really live in this way with people. I've been living from a journey to journey until now. I wasn't particularly concerned about it. But, do you listen, owner? I am listening, in Polka's hot spring. In the darkness of the night, I massage Layla's breasts and give a live reply while licking her ear. On her chest, there was a scar that had just finished removing threads until the flank. 2 weeks since the battle in the capital city. We, the Crossbow Corps, came to Polka with the help of Maya and the Misty Palace Dragons. It is for the treatment of Isaac's squad and Layla. For some reason, we received approval from Minister Ashton, who had suddenly come to the royal capital, so this time we entered Polka, with a great number of people. The Dragon Slayer wound reached Layla's spine. Humans are usually dead. Furthermore, the attack by the Dragon Slayer seems to be an inhibitory effect on healing. I am amazed at the murderous intent of the ruined civilization. However, with the proper treatment by Hilda.San and the treatment of Polka's miraculous spring, everything will be cured except for the dead. Layla is no exception. It took 2 weeks for Layla to endure the damage of the holy beast, and it took only 2 weeks before she could get into the hot spring by herself, but now she can finally act properly and feel relieved. So, even though I'm part of the same business, if you let many people know that I will change my face and hide like others, or I will go back to the palace. It's okay, because you know that hearing, because Diane and Brawl say so. Hiya, first of all, I like your face, and I don't want to use you for power. For now, Mew, would you like to say that you and Maya are mainly kept as cockholes? That's right, but you don't have to worry about it. Shut up and be fucked. It's hard to shut up. Embracing Layla, putting my lips on top of hers, she holds on to my hands. She is anxious about something. This looks like a lonely and worrying person. Being entangled with the society that wasn't worried until now, Layla was persuaded by Bonaparte, as she the invincible self, was shot down by a dragon slayer, and she thought afterward, I can't be considered unrelated to the society. She shouldn't be here so unscrupulously. She really is confronted with the society, since she was shot down with the dragon slayer, and now she thinks about what she has never thought of before and is anxious about me, whether she should leave me. However. Fine Layla, I like you, I'm too, you don't have to do anything to fight as a dragon. I love you, as a female. I want to fuck you as a male and make you become pregnant at any time. You, just whispering so sweet. What's your underlying motive? Nothing. That's fine. You're a female and I'm a male. I'm a small boy, you're a fuckhole. It doesn't have to be anything else. What a happy smile. If she was a normal woman, she would be absolutely angry. But Layla is a dragon. Moreover, she is a striking dragon. She feels so bad about herself that she is a dragon, and she is too concerned, as she is likely to lose confidence in the part of being a woman that I like. It might be an indication of the mind that it is possible to exclude the value of such a strong living thing, and to admit the value of the part which is my woman, even if she is a masochist. It's a selfish imagination. So if I start talking about the general idea of being a dragon, it will be terribly mean. If you understand, I will shot my sperm from my cock into your slave pussy. You really are a bad guy to go against. If you go against it, I can't help it. I will forcibly shot my sperm from the cock directly into the uterus. Oh. Is that a sign of defeat? Lie. No, I'm not a devil, so don't look with the eyes that you expected it. It was a great expectation. I'm not a bit of a bummer. Layla smiles and softly holds my penis in the hot water. I also squeeze her breasts gently, play with her nipples and enjoy it very much. New, I hope to put it in soon. I want your baby juice in my uterus after a long time. Suck as much as you like, your uterus is the final disposal site for my baby juice, ho ho. I guess so if you say that, I will not hold back alright. When Layla kissed me enthusiastically, she straddled over me with fireballs 2 meters above the unspoiled hot spring, shining on her limbs. The wound of the belly is engraved with a thick red muscle. The line originally passed above the uterus. This is the place where babies are born. According to Hilda, it seems the uterus has been torn up too. What, is that true? Cuckoo, you're angry. I'm just happy with that face. That's it. Alright, Hilda has healed me. But she also said that I would be cured without delay when I have the miraculous water from here, but it's the belly of my woman. The woman I let become pregnant. Ho, that's right. My womb is yours, and I like that monopoly, but more than that, is it good for you to make me become pregnant? Now, let's expand my womb so that it can be seen by anyone's eyes, now with your baby juice. Or it might be urine. Don't do that. Mew, it might be a good feeling unexpectedly. Do you want to pull me into a world I can't turn back on? Of course it's good to be anywhere. You just keep using this as a port of libido. I wonder how much would be enough for a pervert, erotic dragon me. I will make you cry absolutely, ho ho ho, let's go. Layla lowers her hips while I still hold on to her shaking tits. My dick is swallowed by her pussy, which is still hotter than the hot spring. For Layla, every time my gland stretches out the folds, she is swayed and tasted it with a happy face. Ha, my owner's cock, my dear, my owner's cock will come to my womb. What a sluttish face, ho, you can't wait to see this, it's the arrival of my owner who keeps bullying me. I see, then I'm not holding back, no. I'm going to become pregnant more and more. I just start moving my hips. Layla also responds and moves her waist. Just like a theater setting, while being lit by the fireball, I and Layla are crazily having sex. The first ejaculation is approaching as early as possible. Coo, ho ho, you're getting to have a good face soon, no, you. Oh, the same goes for you too, don't bluff so much, you know, my uterus is at the critical moment, and it aims for your juice. Oh, Layla presses the cervix that has fallen down to the tip of my penis and waits for my ejaculation. I also move my waist to let Layla gain some pleasure towards the top. At that moment, 2 members of the crossbow corps came out of the dressing room to the hot spring and were surprised at the relationship between me and Layla. Layla.san. Ho, she really is with 10-man Captain Smithson. Ho ho. It's a bit noisy, forgive me, Layla smiles and continues shaking her hips. It seems that there isn't much resistance to show such sex to others. And I'm with such a Layla, ugu, coo, ho ho. Poo, put it out, coo, I also, iku. Ejaculation. I feel an illusion that Layla's cervix is delighted and stuck to my son. Layla clings to me and moves delayed by the tempo of my ejaculation pulsation. The 2 crossbow corps members see Layla and my appearance while being lit by a bright fireball. 10-man Captain Smithson, is that what you mean by masturbation? It's different. Don't look. Ho, let us show them without saying something sloppy. Those peeping toms, Layla whispers to me with a grin while shaking her hips and kissing me to seal my shaken remarks. I looked at them with a slight glance, and although I said no, those guys were masturbating in the dark. No, we've been careless in a place like this, but I don't want to argue much. Ho ho. You're willing to masturbate, but you're not going to put it out. Yes ma'am. No, you don't have to align your voices. However, I have a complicated feeling from seeing those 2 masturbating to my woman. Even if they masturbated Imagine Diane, I may feel a little unpleasant now. Cuckoo, what is it? No, what? I think it's your core, what? Surely they only think that I'm a female, saying that my core really don't seem to care that Layla or Maya is a dragon. It seems that some people still confess to N-zeros. And some may be paralyzed strangely by Diane. Yes ma'am. We only feel attracted to the healthy youth of the crossbow corps and attractive women. No, you guys do that. You don't have to talk to me. It's too fast. Well, you are a good woman. If it's not too late, can you do it one more time? Ho, let us watch, 10-man Captain Smithson. By the way, do you want to misfire tomorrow? It's a bad decision, go, good grief, you are a rowdy owner. Chapter 77. Dark Half-elves Fall in Love Syndrome, Diane, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 77. Dark Elves Fall in Love Syndrome, Diane, 100-man Commander Diane. Part of the Northern Army Corps, who have both unofficial Master Knight class combat power and religious priest class magic abilities, and she is skilled in tactical operations and is the trump card of Celesta's army. I didn't know that she was so frightening, but I noticed it in the middle of the journey. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I already knew that Diane was strong in out-of-order terms, and although she was somewhat biased with magic, I also knew that she was good. However, all warriors at various hero levels actually showed some reaction to Diane's appearance just because she was nicknamed War God, and I knew once more. This person is a great hero of this generation and one of the real strongest. But well, in front of me, she is a little too aggressive, so she is also a naughty fall in love girl. Andy, don't you take care lately? I think it will be a long time to be with you. Is it that you want to take care of your lovers and let me look from the distance? No, I mean, let's go ahead. How about attacking during breaks, or at least trying to play with my chest or butt? As expected, it's hard to do so much before N0s or Aurora. That's a big deal, the captain's room at sunset. Or rather, a shack named the captain's room. Only there, Diane and I have private space. It has been almost a month since the crossbow corps has come to Polka. Certainly, they have not only been able to take a bath and just relax, but the non-injured members also do training similar to Ba-sun. Those who were particularly injured were almost completely relieved now, and they are almost like Layla that the injury they received during the defense of Trot's royal capital still remains. There is no problem in moving itself, and they only have scars like Layla. The residents of Polka have been somewhat fascinated by the various faces of the crossbow corps, as they are cheerful, energetic and reliable, and they are doing everything from scratching snow to helping civil engineering with the command of Diane, and everyone is accepted more than I thought. It may be because of the inflow of the elves had begun originally as the residents begin to get used to contact with different cultures. In any case, everyone started getting used to each other, and now the Baron offers to say, let's make a season activity base here, if there is enough land. Then, to Diane and Minister Ashton, who also have faces that aren't sloppy, but it's a little pity that Boyd's face was likely to cry, saying, I'm going to tell Sylvia shortly before coming out. Isaac also had a restless face. It may be better to ask Maya at the same time and carry those who care about Ba-sun once there. This hut was built by the ogres of the crossbow corps in an attempt to build a stronghold for the crossbow corps. The aim is to find out the areas that affect architecture, such as geology, the strength of wood, and the nature of the stone. The ogres are several times more powerful than humans. As for building technology, there are many things that are learned by hands-on because there are many things where parents work in the house in hometown. So it took only 3 days from the foundation work to the completion of the hut. It is just a prototype, so it is not something that can be used as a residence, but it was presented to Diane for not being able to use what was built. I don't need to do paperwork, I don't need medical care at Polka. It's ironic that I can only use it to hide and do something like this. Diane smiles as she leans on me while I embrace her from behind. There are other children in the inn. In such a case, it would be a royal road to squeeze into the forest, but that forest is, yes, I remember it correctly, Polka's forest is an area of the elves. Even though I don't know where Phaser and Irina Thought-san are looking at, we would be in trouble if we go in. As a result, Diane's only place is here. In the inn, the other girls aim at me with tiger eyes, and Diane can't do it with me in front of the other members. I think that she is a person who loses comparatively. Now, if you can, now I want you to cherish me. You said your utmost, didn't you? I'm pretty tired and I'm getting high, but I'm hard. Oh, it's okay to say with all one's heart or I love you. Lately, you'll remember only BDSM, spanking, or something strange. There is a pervert that teaches me, mainly Layla and Jean constantly ask me to open the eyes of sadism. I will do it properly, with that sound illusion. I know, an illusion that doesn't let sounds transmitted around. Now our secret is perfect. Nonetheless, Diane eventually accepts most of what I do. Even if the clothes are torn apart and she is tied up, being spanked or having anal sex without notice, she will complain later, as Diane hardly refuses during the process. It is a part where she is a little SM, though she is also cute. I want to make Diane startled. I can't do that, but I want to make her cry. I think she must be happy just because it is accepted, but such mischief is absolutely necessary to lift the neck. Oh, Andy. Bakken, have you done your work for soldiers today? I'm off duty. Also, tell me about armor processing, Jackie.san. Oh, well, if you're fine with my technique, I am learning armor processing at Jackie.san's workshop once or twice a week. I would like to make a weapon, but it is important for me to be able to handle armor well before it is complete. There is also a promise that I couldn't achieve with my father. Besides, there is the goal to create new armor for N-Zeros. I feel a bit sorry that her former armor was destroyed by General Lucas at Claves, and I would like to create a black and cool armor that is light and easy to move, yet with the new maneuvering tactics, yet unique to N-Zeros. I did a little basic during my study days, and now I am a step-dot printer, with some flexibility in terms of strength and weight, so it is not an impossible goal. However, the know-how of fine adjustment is overwhelmingly lacking, so in that area I still need instructions. That's why I learn more and more while being taught by Jackie.san. The joint there is an emphasis on the range of motion. If it doesn't move, the action is quite limited. What about this? There is no need to move too much. A strong shape so that it won't come off with some shocks. Okay, if you pack it so short, it won't get better. I'm sorry, I make prototypes of various forms of armor to accumulate know-how. Then, apply a carved crest on one side of the created armor to try various effects. While not only increasing the strength with the crest but also making it extremely vulnerable in the uncomputed part, it is not clear until I experiment with it that it really works perfectly in that form. Oh, is it a southern technology? Yeah. Well, I know only a bit of it. I carved the crest with the crest sword from the elf territory by striking and cutting and experimenting with it. But in this way, with real armor in front of me, yes, I feel that I am making practical products. In that way, when I finished the production and the experiment, a strange armor jumped into my eyes. What is this, armor? Ah, that's it. It's a bikini armor, there is nothing other than the chest and skirt armor. There is no less than purity. It's a type that has been invented a while ago in Rapel, and it seems that it has become popular even in Renfangas about 3 years ago. It's a bit under care, but the rumor is that there's a heated debate on whether or not female wear a shirt under the armor. Wait. In other words, there are female warriors who wear this in Rapel or Renfangas in a straightforward manner. I think in both cities because it's a hot topic. How wonderful, Andy. Bakken hasn't changed. I was really astonished. I'm fine because I'm known in Polka as the breast. Loving boy. Wait. This is it. There was a flash in my mind. That's it. This is it. Let's make this a mischief for Diane. Bikini armor. You want me to put this on? Isn't it perfect for Diane? Well, it doesn't have much difference to the clothes I wear on warm times. I recommend the bikini armor I have replicated at Jackie.san's worksite to Diane. Certainly, Diane had a tendency to wear relatively many clothes because of the snow in Polka, but when traveling through the desert, she didn't hide her plentiful chest much with that small chest cloth, and the skirt she wore was so short you almost could see her secret place. Besides, she was wearing the best one piece while walking around there with such a degree of exposure. Compared to that, this bikini armor isn't a big deal. There is a way to convince her. But what shall I do with this armor? The excuse there is the biggest bottleneck. No matter what, Diane is a person who, as it is, has the same spirit as a sword saint. It doesn't mean anything when she put it on. To preach the inevitability, the threat to Diane in this neighborhood isn't limited to the eye. Now I'm trying to get my head working. However, Diane does a good job and sighs in the wind, before going to her room with the bikini armor. I understand, I will wear it. When I was a little puzzled by the development, Diane turned around lightly and gave a bitter smile to me. Well, you prepared it for me, right? Yes, it's a source of clothing, isn't it? She says so and disappears in her room. I feel a little guilty. Diane noticed the mischief I set up, and when I screamed small, I was waiting to see if she would turn her head, but the scream wasn't heard. We will start today's training. First of all, 5 kilometers of marching training, completely armed, everyone was stunned by Diane who appeared in the bikini armor. They are likely not to be fazed because everyone is accustomed to Diane wearing clothes with high exposure. The problem was with the bikini armor. It is completely transparent. It's engraved with a crest that let the armor become see-through. It is an ordinary metal and leather bikini armor, but it is finely engraved that it can be transparent when it gets worn to some extent. Thanks to that, Diane, who only wore the bikini armor, is almost completely naked. She was giving orders just in front of everyone with a cool face. The hairless genital and lavish breasts that are characteristic of elves are completely visible. And looking back at the stunned people again, Diane clapped her hands together. Hey, everyone, hurry up and become fully armed. When you're done with the marching training, then there will be shooting training. The escort infantry will just practice attacking. Yes. Everyone begins to run while being nailed to Diane's naked body. Goto and Lance were already playing with their erection while running on the sand. They think that they are professional in a sense. And, while starting to run parallel to me, and Zeros looks at me with a red face and whispers, "Your work." Yup, and Zeros grabbed my head. "What are you doing, Uoo? It hurts, it hurts." I was swung around with all her strength. While running. The ability to do such tricks is unique to N0s. Andy.San, you are, later scary, wait scary, as pointed out by Aurora. When I think about it, the longer Diane lasts, the scarier she will be. And 10. Man, Captain Smithson was that kind of person. Regular soldier Mikagami can't look into my eyes. Yeah, a little bit tight. However, the other guys put their thumbs up when they overtake me. Great praise. But they were all strangely looking at me. It is as if they see death. No, I know. I was the one who did it. After march training was over, only I was called. Everyone in the corps put their fist on the left chest, stretched their spine and saw me off. They are disgusting people. Then, Diane took me to the back of the captain room and put on a sound illusion and a space designation illusion. Now no one can hear what we do. That, have you heard? That, Diane stared at me without even trying to hide the skin that was exposed by the bikini armor. What do you mean? I mean, this kind of thing is like a frog stared at by a snake. But what is in front of me is a snake who is the strongest trump card of Celesta. It is not amusing to say to the hereafter next moment if unskilled. Yeah, no matter what. Listen, Diane, I just wanted to be mean to you as you don't listen to me. I mean, I want you to be a little reluctant once in a while. The real intention, which was super intrusive, was thrown out. But Diane only nods with a serious look. Danger, she already completely has her killing intent, and I can hear my death poem in this situation. I thought so, but Diane slowly took off the bikini armor and started to be really naked. It was truly unbearable. Cold, besides, if you were mean, that because I'm used to that somehow, or perhaps I should say after you are mean, you're always going to be violent, so your body reacts first. Absolutely, smash, Diane throws away the waist armor attached to the panty armor. She snorts and crosses her arms. When I look closely, it was a very shameful complexion. Imagine being raped violently. What would you do if everyone stares at you like that? I'm deeply ashamed. This, if it is enough to embarrass me in such a halfway form, I'd rather declare loudly that I'm your dedicated meat urinal. What? That, I'm sorry, if you think it's bad, show me your sincerity. I'm half meandered and my body is already done, then, here. Anywhere is good. Do you really want to declare it now? No, Diane, too, was a person who felt that being bullied was a good idea. Her conscience is not so much a masochist. And she wasn't feeling too ashamed to be seen naked. She is always taking a bath with everyone anyway. When it comes, I guess, what are you going to do, is the best focus. Well then. Then, this time we're about to make a very loud sound, yup, good. I'm a little happy to reward you, tisk, idiot, you evil man, Nul. I hug Diane's soft body and take her lips for a passionate kiss. Finally, Diane shed tears to show her joy from my warmth, hugging her and taking her lips. And I just took off my belt and dropped my pants. Under the blue sky that shines in the snowfield, I hold the wheat-colored limbs of Diane from behind, who put her hands on the outer wall of the captain's room and adjust the sex posture. Quick, that's dirty, Diane, you're too mean, idiot, while being abused by me. Her voice has no hostility or bad faith and there is only a sweet sound coming out like a cute puppy. And I attach my penis to her vagina that is inviting me inside. Diane's wet and open pussy was hot just by touching, even though the air around us is cold. Diane, nah. Diane shows her joy with a faint cry. Snow-white landscape and sky-blue sky, new tree amber and dark brown skin of a dark elf. Vivid colors and vivid pleasure are very comfortable. I grab Diane's boobs, moving my hips while letting my fingers bite into her tits. Hayu, Andy. Diane shows her pleasure with the movement of her whole body as she sticks out her buttocks. When this happens, even her age of 200 doesn't matter, as that lustful figure becomes like a little girl who wants to look younger than me. I taste Diane's real face with a kiss and I add a spurt to my waist movement. Diane also noticed and fixes her buttocks at a height that is easy to push in and tries to let me ejaculate inside her womb. I can't refuse that. Diane. Andy. I got hooked by the best vagina and shot my sperm inside. Diane accepts it with a melting look. I covered her lips for a moment and resumed my hip movement again. Here, AAA. Let me put my semen on your ass and back as well, idiot. Diane said that much, and continued to indulge in continuous sex with me which extended to 4 shots afterward, and continued panting. Of course, there is a reason that Diane and I also have the reason to take on the surface alone. I was forced to sit outside until nightfall by Diane's strict order. Yup. I'm glad that everyone's opinion is true, actually. Then, when I went to the hot spring while being numbly frustrated, I came across Aurora and Enzeros, who is kneeling at the dressing room in front of Diane, Layla and Hilda.San, who are waiting for me. What are you doing, Enzeros? No, I thought that you would be a little happy, so I thought I'll try to wear it out of fun. Bikini armor is a high degree of difficulty. It's because the cup of the chest is a fit for Diane. With Enzeros and Aurora, the bra didn't stick to the skin and it didn't become see-through. Well, for you guys too, that's not the problem. Yes, this feeling of defeat is different, it seems complicated. Chapter 78. Half-elves Fall in Love Syndrome ×3, Enzeros Apple Selenium. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 78. Half-elves Fall in Love Syndrome ×3, Enzeros Apple Selenium. Lately, Enzeros is very cold. How to be popular with beautiful women. I am sure that there is a talent to hook up with beautiful, well-selected beauties anyway, but I think that it is only a misunderstanding of something. It is not possible to become acquainted only with women who are so beautiful and are usually desperately looking for a more intimate relationship. I think I'm doing my best and luck and I know how to get along with women in a short time. I'm sure it's a very subtle evaluation, right? It's not just that 10-man Captain Smithson is clever, but it's not the only thing. It's a good feeling to be intoxicated with alcohol. No, it's not a delusion. But there is no such a habit to vent erotic talk. It's supposed to be a negative evaluation for girls. Even, in reality, it takes less than 3 months in, even if it is 100-man Commander and Selenium, this bastard has 7 more women, you know, he sometimes looks cool. You're joking again. Even if you try to do something a little, isn't it the character of 10-man Captain Smithson which is missing something? Damn it. What do you want to say? I'm still so popular that I'm not doing something cowardly, because it is 10. Man Captain Smithson we're talking about, it's not like that. It's a decisive factor. When she erupts in the bar because of the paradoxical harassment by our core members, and Zeros walks up and takes up my beer cup. With a glance at us who raise voices at the same time, and Zeros moves towards Maya, who ate a glass of beer, as she folded her arms and glared at us. Don't bother drinking but don't act without restraint. This is Smithson's hometown. Don't shame him here, somewhat I don't want to say embarrassing things from now on. I stopped it because you should never say it. If you embarrass yourself, then the mental image of the local people get worse and the core will feel uncomfortable. Take care of yourself, idiot. Showing us the shrugging of her shoulders, and Zeros leaves quickly. These days I always feel like she is not in a good mood at all as she is colder than before our journey. Of course, we didn't do something ecky lately and I don't know if she wears my collar as her neck is hidden because of the cold weather. Well, as the discipline committee chairman of our corps, it is quite correct, but the problem is that sometimes there isn't even a chance for us two to be alone. Fortune telling. Apple's room at the Baron's mansion. Selenium and Apple, who was originally taken care of by the Baron, live here in order to save the inn costs. Even though there is also an aide in the Celesta Army's endorsement, the 100-man corps' lodging charge is a little high, so I stayed with everyone in the guest house. I don't know if Apple understands. But can you tell me what N0 thinks? Fortune telling isn't a useful thing to read the mind separately, and, well, it's not like I can see the directionality of the relationship in terms of the flow of the mind. That's fine, I don't want to use it for people who are very familiar but I will do it. Assessing a relationship is, conversely speaking, hiding it also means mixing things that have been relaxed. It is not very convenient to understand things well if you think so. When I was troubled with my arms folded, Apple was thinking while putting her hand on her cheek. And San, hey, you're the one who doesn't understand well, really. I think it's a person who is easy to understand and easy to put on the table. But it didn't seem like that to Apple. First of all, there is no feeling of depression as a half-elf child, it looks like she was having a hard time, but thanks to her parents being strong, she is sociable and has no feeling of giving up, right? Well, yeah, being raised by that rich and powerful mom, it does not mean that she has a bad relationship with her father. She has eventually become a swordsman, which was her dream, and there is no need to be held down by it, and it is not necessary to give up her future. With the current growth rate, it will be possible for her to pass the Master Knight examination in the near future and she will be equal to Diane. It's not a shame to grow up straight. She might be an exception as a half, but it is a good thing, I guess it's good, as she is a pretty straight half-elf, it's good, but, unlike me and Selenium, who have no such shadow or anxiety, she wants to depend on a gentleman, so I'm sure the feeling peculiar to a half-child is not so strong, right? Well, exactly right, can you say that? I think there are no places or people who we can return to, so we are apart. Yup, I wonder if that's what she hears when I hear the story, as Andy gave her a collar which she kept. She is a half, but she is trying not to lag behind everyone because she is a half. I have become anxious when it is said so by Apple. In the case of these guys, if it is said, the situation isn't so different from humans. In other words, they have chosen a way to avoid discrimination as a half. However, it seems that one female slave is too faithful to her half character. She really likes me and is not actively doing it, so she can't throw away something that happened in the atmosphere. I'm starting to worry a little. However, the weather sign suddenly appears behind them. A female slave might be a little fit around, but I think that N0.San is definitely a stranger to Andy. Selenium, she is a dexterous person who shows signs and disappears. In a sense, it's a bit scary that it's okay to be as good as Diane. But Selenium. From Andy.San's talk, don't you feel like N0's is tired of relationships? N0.San isn't. She is different from Layla.San or Jean.Chan. She's the same as Apple. Selenium has a wry smile. What do you want, Selenium? Baron's mansion, Selenium's room. And Zeros can't see anything in this dark room. White elves don't have night vision. She turned around behind that and Zeros and Selenium handcuffed and Zeros' hands behind her back. And Zeros is surprised. She has no sword with her and must have thought that she didn't fall in a trap in such a place. Selenium, what are you doing? Ehehe, I guess it's not good, you have to put out an OK sign at all times for the female slave's master, wah. And Zeros is held by Selenium and Apple and is thrown onto the bed. I appeared from the corner of the room like a ghost. Smee, Andy, AAA, you were worried that Andy.San didn't do something naughty recently with N0s.San, right? I have core work to do and everyone is watching, so I can't disturb Andy. Nuhu, Selenium bites into N0's ear who makes foolish excuses. Apple plays with N0's skirt, asking for eye contact with a glimpse of Selenium. Hyoyu, what do you do? If N0s.San calms down, you can shift to the naughty atmosphere without having to force people to set it up. Andy.Sans is pitiable. He wants to have sex with you at any time, but no excuses. You're a female slave, right? Do you really want to be naughty? What? That is. That. After all, everyday life is too much, so she couldn't have sex so far. I don't know the feeling. If I could still do it in person in public with N0s, it would be a shame. There are N0s and there are companions, and a fixed daily speed of the roll is not disturbed easily. In N0's case this time, she was stiff with herself after taking into account the political relationship between me and Polka and the crossbow corps in vain. Well, it seems like N0's. Oh really? Yup, I was worried that you got tired of me, that kind of thing. I'm your female slave, so why not fuck me without worrying? You think I could do it? I heard that you did to Diane and Aurora. In other words, if I really wanted to do something, you would let me fuck you forcibly. And Zeros turns red as her mouth and ears become the shape of a letter. Selenium and Apple sigh at the same time. I don't want to hold back if this is right. Andy.San, rape. You guys have fun. I throw the handcuffed N0s down on the bed, slap her butt and cut off the underwear with a knife. Yeah, why do you cut it? Punishment. From now till tomorrow night you can't wear any panty. It's an order, pervert, it's a punishment that made me anxious. I'm going to fuck you from now on and I will do it whenever I see you tomorrow so you wear no panty, pervert. I don't know what's going on at all, that's not something you need to worry about. I hold N0's butt and insert my son in her secret hole. The small vagina which has not been tasted for a long time has good tightness, good sensitivity, and good health as ever, as the uterus presses against my cock. Andy's penis, once the switch is turned on, it is like this. I can't help it, I love it because I do it. And Zeros makes her small ass respond to the penetration of my cock by shaking indecently, while she is in a state of being restricted by handcuffs and her lower body is exposed. AAA, this, I love you, I love your penis, scraping the interior, I love it. I'm sorry I didn't want to see it because I wanted to see that face, I'm sorry I didn't want to see this tomorrow. Idiot, that kind of thing, not good, it's about to poke me while pushing in, what a messy face that looks so happy, you pervert ace knight. You're my only pussy that is fucked all day long. No way, if you do that, it would be really weird. I enjoy the sex after a long time with an excited face and N0's ears shake every time I poke her. I ejaculate deep in the bottom. Wawaya. N0's pushes her hips towards me and enjoys the semen released into her vagina. Selenium and Apple, who were watching, nodded to each other with a little red face and at the same time hugged me. Andy.San, please do us too. Oh, luckily for the past few days, there aren't so many requests from Lyra and there is plenty of energy available. Still, me too, will you use my pussy? And Zeros is tempting me by shaking her butt, while my penis is still inserted. Hey, listen up and line up together. Push your butts out and show me your pussies, yes. Andy.San is matchless. Selenium and Apple removed their skirts and panties and lined their buttocks next to N0's. With the half-elf that awakened my sex in polka. With the half-elf who has been close to me at Celesta. The half-elf that has my dick inside. All three buttocks are rubbed with both hands and I begin to have sex painstakingly. Hiya. It hurts. Also hitting my ass, Andy is really excited. Ahoo, PL, please put it in, I'll put it in and out. I'll put my juice on your bright red butt. Wah. And then. I penetrated all three half-elves' vaginas as much as I wanted. Next day. Andy, Selenium's room is made so that you can hear quite a bit. I'm sorry, no, you're welcome, but the children are small, I'm sorry, I had to apologize to the Baron on my way home. And. So, where are we going to do today's first time? As soon as I left the Baron's mansion, and Zeros looked up at me. Well, do we do it in the alley there? I'm getting better with illusion magic, that said, I will never say a word of rejection and I grasp N0's butt to whisper into her ear while enjoying the whirlpool with enthusiasm. Your face in trouble is so cute, I'm happy, I'm not. I combed her long hair with my fingers before I pressed N0's against the wall and rolled her skirt up. The love juice and the semen that I poured inside yesterday has begun to flow out from the butt that has been beaten and fucked yesterday. Good, I'm going to do it, I said it many times, but you are my slave, so don't forget it. Yeah, I will not forget. I will not forget, so quickly, in this way, and Zeros was getting caught up in a bad way. I'm really sorry. Chapter 79. Special Circumstances Half-Elf, First Part, Maya Selenium, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 79. Special Circumstances Half-Elf, First Part, Maya. Selenium, the day when the snows are getting less and less and the fragrant flowers are already breaking the snow and starting to appear in here. In particular, weeds begin to overflow on the banks of the river, which flows from the miraculous spring, like green borders. That was Polka's spring. This time around, wild grass dishes are popular, but they were so bitter when I was a child. Johnny talks with a bitter smile. Yeah. It's a new thing as it is not storage food, so it's a great pleasure. I also see Keel. Wild grass food, it is good. Do you not like it? The two laughed at what Isaac said. He is an ox.ogre, so he likes grass. Well, a childhood story, it isn't so bitter when you grow up. Keel lifts his cup. There is beer in it. Here is the new bar in Polka. It was a new store that was newly built to accommodate the ogres. Let's drink with everyone. A group of ogres went to the Baron and the bar owner and it was really built by saying that they would build it. With their strength, they can build a house several times more efficiently than humans. It is really good that they are tall and have strength. Roofing, etc. Making it by cooperating with the dwarves and human companions. A store like a huge indoor playground was created in just a few days, so this is interesting, and the Baron's wife just started business here and the young people from Polka also come occasionally to the Celesta.style bar made for ogres. I and Selenium also joined and the members of the Crossbow Corps and the local young people had a conversation and it was unexpectedly becoming the forefront of intercultural exchange. I still don't like wild boar dishes, Keel and Johnny smiled in a complicated way. Well, Andy is pitiful. I went to the capital to train. I ate only dishes made with frozen vegetables and dried meat so that I got tired of eating, and then there comes that fresh taste and one day I will be able to eat it. I don't think there's a region where Celesta is closed by snow. Wildflower cuisine at Polka is also a pleasure because the food supply is scarce. It is a kind of feeling that can be felt only because it is inconvenient, and it shouldn't be envious, but it is also regrettable that you can't enjoy such things. Is that the taste of your mother? Well, I also want to eat the round grilled hellsboar that my mother made once in a while. I can't stand the rough seasoning of cayenne and tomato sauce. Hellsboar. I will gently teach Johnny to lean on the words of Isaac. A pig-like monster from the desert labyrinth. It's about 1 meter long, and if it hits you directly with a rush, even an ogre will be killed. Oh, it is a monster. Just as I thought he was frightened. That is delicious. Hey Smithson, well it tasted like pork, as expected. Keel and Johnny are jealous. Yup. These guys usually don't eat monsters. Which reminds me, Smithson, you're from here right? What is with your mother? Isaac takes his cup and changes the story. I finally remembered the existence of my mother. She, after hearing about my father's death, it was said she must be living somewhere, but because I thought everything about the house and my family is finished, I didn't think about her so far. It is said that she moved to Folklore, which is the second largest city to the royal capital, and there is an expectation that she won't be found so easily there. She emigrated. My mother is from near the capital city and I can't contact her because she has no other relatives here. It's hard to say where she lives now. I see. Isaac drinks a little bit while listening to me. And, I whisper. I wonder if something can be done with magic. Magic. Look, there are a lot of elves here, Commander. Selenium.Chan, Apple.Chan and so on. I thought they'd be able to do something about it with magic. Hearing Isaac's words, the first thing I imagined is the crystal ball of a fortune teller. However, it can be said that it is only a suitable image of a fairy tale. The image of magic of humans is often distorted. You said a good thing, Isaac. Yeah. It might be good to expect some clues. I slam the payment of my bill on the table and stand up. Hey, Smithson. If it's not enough, I can give you some money. Sorry. I call out to Isaac from behind as I ran to the inn. I can do more than find clues, Apple answered immediately. Really? Fortune-telling doesn't have much to do with distance. As long as the flow of chi is connected, I think I'll probably know something if she is not outside the continent or something. It's surprisingly amazing. Fortune-telling, the more information you get along the way, the more you get lost, and it's more difficult to attract more information as it gets further. While saying so, Apple takes out a small crystal mass. It's a rough cut, just like a child's toy. Can you see with that? It's a medium to concentrate on. Well, anything is fine. Crystals work well, and when she casts a small spell, the crystal glows. I hate it, but I can only see a light. Yes. I think I can narrow down where she lives. Apple smiles and tells me how to find my mother. Next day. I submitted a vacation application for an off-duty day and decided to go to Folklore in 3 days. I don't think that's dangerous, but don't overdo it, Diane says with a worrying face. I wonder how much trouble I'm supposed to be. Ho! You want to do something that I want to follow you. Layla was stopped by Hilda because she was still worried about the wound. I think that it is rare, but there is a possibility that she is damaged by a dragon slayer, even a little. Flying in the sky with her dragon body can be particularly burdensome. I also would like to go with you. Apple is still not used to the back of a dragon. Jean told me that she will stay beside Layla and Enzeros and Aurora have to supervise the training. They were about to follow me but I stopped them. The number of people is few. In other words, Maya, my mean of transportation and escort, and Selenium, an expert in search and stealth activities, will accompany me. Well, it's enough to search for one person. Everyone is too worried. Well then, leave it to me. Andy. Sama, get on. I climbed up to Maya, who became a dragon in the snowy snowfield, and we flew away to the far west. On Maya's back, we cut the cold wind and crossed the mountain range. What kind of person is Andy San's mother? I only heard about your father. Well, I feel like she was always angry. I make a wry smile. She was angry. Usually it was my father's and my fault. Well, my dad made a big loss around the rewards of his work and later accumulated a lot of debts. I was often chased by a young girl because of my peeping. She felt a sense of responsibility. Because Polka doesn't have a school like the capital city, my mother taught me to read and write and how to calculate properly, and she tried to let me study at will, and my father is really a wasteful arm to pull back in the countryside. It was said that he was a blacksmith, so I tried to make it as thorough as possible. It was annoying, but I think I was loved. I was surprised while looking at Selenium from the side. Was it a little insensitive? It is said that Selenium's mother died before she was old enough to recognize her, and her human father neglected Selenium. Selenium doesn't know what is meant with being loved by parents. But you don't have to look like that. I'm fine, Selenium. I don't know your mother, but I decided that she is a good mother. So if Andy San's mother is a good mother, I have to follow her. Yes, Selenium pays attention to one's needs. I know, I'm still immature to let them take care of me. I understand now why Selenium has come along, so I just have to hold her. In retrospect, Maya suddenly appears on my shoulder. Andy Sama, we will arrive in the evening before the city. Yup, we have some room. Yes, and Chibi Maya, naked, walks across my shoulders, stroking and sticking to my cheeks. If you give me a treat in this area, will it be fine? Hey, recently, you have been thinking about Layla only. I'm Andy Sama's dedicated whole, indeed. I am Andy San's exclusive meat slave. I know, well, if it is Andy Sama, he can take care of both of us. If he is willing to fuck us properly, Maya's complaints are good. It is not unreasonable to think of it as a chance. But, it was a very healthy atmosphere. I am going to see my mother now. I wonder if it is good in such a usual condition. When I'm thinking, there isn't a moment Maya left in vain. While I thought, she jumped on Selenium's shoulder and made a secret talk. And it seems that an agreement was established, as Chibi Maya and Selenium make a thumbs up. It is a very disturbing atmosphere. For me. Andy San, I would like you to confess what you are planning for now. I'm planning something like that. That smile is scary. That's right. Maya Chan told me that she wanted Andy San to care about her. It's a lot of work, isn't it? It's not good right now. Not good. Selenium dexterously turned her hands around my waist and took off the belt with one hand. And slipped down my pants and underwear. Hey. Cold. While I thought for a while, Selenium clung to my waist and put my shrunken dick in her mouth. Yua. NN. NN. I don't know what you're saying, but just calm down. I guess it's good. Let's make love in the air. I want to become pregnant with Andy San's dick anytime, anywhere, so it's okay. Yo, my penis is swallowed in her mouth and Selenium tries to make me feel it by sucking and licking. Chibi Maya makes a somewhat complicated face while being on my shoulder. Hey, it's not good to use my back as a room, it's patience until Andy San is motivated. If he is feeling like that, let's get down to that area and let him fuck the two of us. Yup, I understand. Fine, let's get down. If my hands slip carelessly after acrobatic sex, I will die in a crash. It is not a secret that my son is in a fighting position inside Selenium's mouth, as it is said. Of course, that's all Selenium wanted. On the west side of the Serpent Mountains. There is no village separately, it is a prairie as far as the eye can see. This side seems to have thawed slightly faster than Polka, and a green carpet has spread everywhere. In the middle of the green carpet, I made Maya and Selenium lay down naked and push their buttocks up. I'm ashamed, but, quickly, Andy.Sama, quickly. Selenium shows an ashamed expression with slightly expecting something, and Maya shakes her small but with a face that has already been in estrus. I put my dick that is attached with Selenium's saliva inside Maya. Maya instantly opens her eyes, which shine instantly. Nah, Andy.Sama, there, ha. Your hole is a cock hole, isn't it? Yes, but. It's your punishment for making me excited. I'm fucking you and let you become pregnant. Higoo. The hole I invaded was Maya's butt. I pierced Maya's butt hole, which I had never used before, in the middle of the prairie with a view of the blue sky. It hurts. Layla is willing to shake her ass, always right. I'm why? I'm not going to be overjoyed. With a little grudge, I grabbed Maya's little buttocks and started a random extraction. Higa, agwu, Maya releases a thin and cute voice, and it sounds a bit sexy. Well, if this is N0's or Jean, I would care a little more, but this girl is a dragon, so I think it would be okay if I act a little rude, fuck that asshole and scold her. In the view of the beautiful sunshine that shines brightly, Maya's slightly young body is tense, and as it moves up and down she strangely looks beautiful. And no matter how painful it is, I love Maya, who pushes her ass up for me anxiously to loosen the movement. Look Maya, your master is doing you like this when you're a little out of tune. I don't care if you feel good or get pregnant, I will just use you to make myself feel good. Yeah, I know. Still, Maya smiles while shedding sweat. Use me. I want you to use me, Andy.Sama's penis, I want to satisfy you with everything I do. You. Suddenly, while I fuck her butt hole, she is exposed to the fresh air from the daytime with her naked figure, and Maya is showing the figure of a smiling little girl with a bright red face, which let my excitement reaches the climax. In Maya's rectum, I inject my semen as proof of her own pleasure instead of letting her become pregnant. Ha. The anus is extended by the releasing of my injected love liquid, and while it seems to be extremely bitter, Maya receives it. Next, I was about to hold her in my hands, but I abandoned her white limbs casually and turned to Selenium, who sticks out her buttocks beside us. Do you know what to do? Hoo, yes. Andy.San, if you get angry you're a devil. Selenium wanted to apply my love juice attached penis to her buttocks while watching the agonizing Maya. I don't think I'll forgive her from the beginning. She's a full-blown pervert half elf that sticks out her butt to me. You are the ones who forced me to become a devil. Hoo, I'm sorry. Please. Unlike Maya's little butt, Selenium has an adult-sized butt. The butthole is painted with love fluid, and as I press down, it reflects the sunlight like dust. At that moment I thrust my penis, which is attached with semen and Maya's intestinal fluid, into Selenium's butt. Hiya. It doesn't go in very smoothly, I'm sorry, for Andy.San, when I masturbate, I always put in all my fingers, and pull and prepare it. You can't get pregnant with this hole, right? I will be satisfied if I can feel good with Andy.San. I'm always fine to become pregnant even if it is not now, is that so? Yes, always. On the other hand, I feel like I'm being pressured. However, now that this superior body has been offered to me, I can't afford to be scared. I want to fuck her. I want to put my semen in this hole here. I want to conquer everything with my body fluid. Triple A. I begin to ravish that soft and open hole. In the middle of a field where nobody is, now I am having anal sex with Selenium, whose anus can't be closed yet, and keeping a naked girl with a rough breath beside us. Regardless of reproduction, it works only for the pleasure of each other. The painfully extended hole still clings to me and gives a different pleasure than a vagina. Being very embarrassed, Selenium still glances at me and sways her hips, begging me more and more. Under the sunlight, I ejaculated in the deep of her butthole after receiving a deep pleasure that let my brain become numb. Hiya. Coo, you, it feels so good that I seem to be a little conscious. And I pull out my son from the butt. It has a bad smell. When Andy, Sama, finally, Maya, who recovered her breath, held my hand tightly. Maya. I am not used to it yet. Yes, until I get used, more, please. She has an enchanted look, as she sticks out her butt under the light of the sun. But I wonder if it is all right. Good, I can't resist that temptation. Until noon, in the meadow where birds were far, I alternated between the two buttholes. It feels like it still accumulates in my buttocks. Yeah, I'm a little happy. Don't say anything strange in the city. I walk along in the city of folklore with Selenium and Maya. Commonly known as the city on the water. It is a city in the middle of a bulging river, and in the center there are a number of artificial islands that bridge the canal like a crack and are connected by bridges. It is a city that is very difficult to find because of its complicated topography and excessive population, but Selenium walks smoothly without getting lost. Excluded areas of people living for generations. Excluding insecure and lively areas. Among them, Apple said Red Street and Sunset, at most 2 or 3 places. The rest is yarn, fish. Was that the keyword? Yup, it's almost like a quiz, but it seems that fortune-telling comes out like that when following people's edges. When we were talking about such a story, Selenium bumped into a woman who came out of the side road. Sorry, Selenium was the only one who staggered, and the other woman apologized with a side glance and tried to go as it was, but stopped. The woman wore a sober armor. She looks like a freelance mercenary or a labyrinth adventurer. But I'm familiar with that armor. It looks like the elf armor that was prototyped 15 years ago at the blacksmith shop I did my training. A film mass produced products that match the delicate skeleton of elves. Andy. Sama, Maya turns her face as if the wall is anxious and only a voice is blown away by an illusion. That, elf. She is hiding her ears, nod. Solve. I shake my head a little. I would like to avoid wasteful stuff. But the woman who hides her elf ears and Selenium stared at each other with eyes wide open. You're, Almeida, as expected. Selenium, you should be a tree. It seems they know each other. This is weird, going to the clouds. We have to escape. Selenium, let's go. Wait, the elf girl stopped us. Even if there is a reason to have to wait. I'm trying to stay away from adventurers, I dare to forget it. But the female elf moves her cloak away and shows an emblem. Paladin. This woman is a soldier from a film. If you don't want to deal with this paladin, hand her over. I won't. The woman is silent. Thinking so, a cane comes from below the cloak. No. She stretched out a spear. It is a film special product, a prepared weapon. If that's the case, there's no other choice. The woman held the spear down, and disappeared. I'm a little rough. The voice is coming from the sky. That woman's figure was dancing in the moon. Chapter 80. Special Circumstances. Half-elf, second part. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The spear of the elf who flew in the air aimed straight at me. Andy. Sama, immediately Maya jumps sideways at me and helps me avoid the spear strike. The spear crushes the cobblestones. Tisk, the woman turns around while her cloak is swaying and she hates me and Maya, who has fallen to the ground. Almeida, stop. Selenium moved in front of me and protected me in a hurry. Further ahead of her, Maya advances. Do you have 2 little girls? Protect yourself. I'm laughing. A paladin's opponent can be a man or a woman. Hey, do you understand what a paladin is like? Good, I will give you another chance. Please hand over. Selenium quietly. I can't do that." I slowly stood up from an irregularly rolled state and used my two companions as shields, though it is probably not very cool. But suddenly I can't say such a thing and respond. However, it seemed that the female elf didn't expect it, and when she responded with only a breath, she held her spear towards her again. Prepare to leave one arm, however, Maya, who stands silently and stands still with it, does not pull it. The elf girl had a mysterious face. "If you get in the way you won't come out unharmed, kid." Maya ignores the words of the woman, looking back at me and asking a question. "Can I kill?" Wait, don't overdo it." When I stopped, this time the female elf started laughing. "A weak man as owner and a weak child as a guard. A masterpiece, Selenium, ah." Yes, Maya certainly seems like a young harmless child in the current situation. But it's good if I don't overdo it. When Maya thought that she was ridiculed, she swung suddenly and made an ice ball appear from the sky and threw it. A fast-paced ice ball that can reach 5 to 6 kilograms in weight. The woman changes her expression and dodges it. Next, a hole in the wall of the house beyond her appeared. "I need to apologize to the residents later. An interesting technique, it's to the extent you don't die." Maya began to fire recklessly. The ice balls aim at the elf woman one after another, and the city is filled with holes. With the destructive power alone, the woman can be heard, but she avoids the awkward and modeless assault of Maya like an ace knight. "But you can't catch me with such a skill." The woman tried to attack Maya with the spear, but Maya received it with the ice ball that she prepared. While being crushed to the middle, the ice ball grows as seen. It becomes the shape which puts a huge weight on the spear. Nah. Surprised. Maya laughs awkwardly and casually jumps while kicking the astonished elf with her frozen, heavy weapon. Goo. The elf woman is blown away. After all, Maya is stronger as she is a dragon. I have never seen a human fighting properly, but after all a dragon seems to be a powerful fighter. Hugh, I see you do have the ability. I'm amazed at the lack of eyes of what I see. It was the elf woman who fell to the ground now, but she certainly won't give up. She slams the spear in her hand to the ground and makes the ice break before she looks forward to seeing me again. But she sits down and makes an assault posture. "No, I hope we can come to a mutual understanding. We don't have anything to do with you." She completely ignores my persuasion and the woman disappears. A high-speed walking method like Diane or Becker.san. And, like a joke, it is a waterfall-like blazer with a beautiful spring blow by the spear. Indeed, Maya can't afford to do any mischief just like she did earlier, so she went on the defense and avoided the spear strike and creates an ice ball. However, the elf woman doubles her speed and spear strikes. At last Maya is hit by a number and the spear arrives. Gaha. Maya. Wait, you're a dragon, Maya. You are a fighting force. Alright. I just got stabbed a little, it got into your liver. You will die if you don't take care. Maya is strong, but the elf woman denies the falsehood immediately. Do we have to give up? Hand over selenium. No, this is a pinch. Not yet. And, with a surprise, Maya removes the wound from her body. It is a feat unique to Layla by consumes physical strength to eliminate the wound itself. And when I think Maya took a quick pose, she suddenly changed into her dragon form. I am not so weak. Dragon. Maya screams and swings her arm down. The cobblestone street is swept completely and deeply. What, a dragon. Maya, stop. You don't know how many people will die if she goes wild with her dragon body. This is not the time to look for your spear. You should run away quickly. Even before the damage spreads. Wait. Can I wait? The woman tries to jump on the wall, to earn altitude, to stop us climbing on the back of the dragon. However, Maya blocks the movement with her forefoot. However, the woman also knows that the dragon does not take advantage of the small turn and it is not possible to shoot breath without my instruction, so she hops on Maya skillfully using her spear. She tries to approach us who are behind Maya. Maya can't make a sudden move because Selenium is clinging to me and she's irritated. Ha! Dragons are creatures after all. I know. If you combine the breath and flight ability, a dragon is a powerful fighter that can't be beaten by any means other than the dragon slayer, but conversely, if you can manage two of them, they are only large animals. Sir Bonaparte also know that. And I know something I can aim for. Maya, now, come back. Leaving the elf woman who soared high in the sky, I let Maya return to her human form. We also move forward, but Selenium hugs me tightly at an exquisite timing, so I quickly pull a rope from the porch and hooks it into a private house. And we hang on the wall. And the elf woman who was left behind in the high sky of only 50 meters alone falls. Kaya. I was prepared for the worst sound, but what I heard was a splash sound. A water pillar is rising. There must have been momentum in a strange direction when the woman climbed Maya's arm with her spear. It seems that she has fallen into a nearby canal. Hugh, let's hide somewhere now. Yup, it was dangerous. I was thinking of hiding in a nearby private house, but I saw a few soldiers who rushed towards us and came up with a plan. Sorry, we did it. I decided to be straight. Although they are a separate organization from General Soldiers, they are under the control of the Celesta Trot Corps. If the interrogation is received obediently and the reason is spoken, a positive amount of affection will come out, and that elf woman will not put out her hand to the control of the authorities above all. Maybe Maya is stronger than the station force here, but as long as she is in this secluded state, she can't use her dragon form to launch a powerful attack. This is equal to a papier-mâché tiger. So, she is a dragon. Yes, let's see. The three of us are obediently interrogated in the military police station. I want to see evidence. Then, let's go to a wide space, because if she becomes a dragon here a lot of things will break and, if you escape, it will be my responsibility. Okay, let's talk. Assuming that she is a dragon for the time being, well, the military police are hateful and disliked by the general public, but they are also people who can't stand up against the strong ones. It may be the power of an army of dragons and other disaster. Fighting forces. Thanks to that, the story went better than I thought, and about legal defense, they were able to close their eyes on the damage to the town. And Almeida, Paladin Dancing Spear Almeida. Yes. She may be a spy. No. She had left a film's army 3 years ago and abandoned her a film's nationality. Currently, she is a formal adventurer of this town and registered with the Adventurer Guild. What? She has been exiled. Now she has nothing to do with a film except for the fact that she received the Paladin title, exile. That Almeida. The most surprised person was Selenium. Is it so surprising? Yes, she was a paladin, a heresy inspector of the Dark Green clan and a representative of Renest Dukedom, the influence elf of a film, heresy inspector. In that country, everyone has a lot of blood, so it's easy to have half-elves. And the half-elves will get an honorary status by their abilities, or, will be judged. Heretic inspectors are responsible for finding half-elves and the elves of the strays who have left the will of their families. Wait a minute. You're going to be judged. Well, to put it bluntly, with Trent's disease I would have become a tree. If the ability is very high, it is used by half-elves. That much flexibility, they've learned it from the elves over there through the long wartime, but on the other hand, there is no mercy for half-elves who can't use it. And most children are judged to be unusable. What a harsh world. Even if you can do anything, Selenium can't use it. You don't know what to do. I'd rather not understand the rules of the elf world before it becomes a problem that I couldn't use it. Selenium laughed a little bitterly. First, allegiance to the forest and the spirit of light. Consciousness to belonging to the clan. It is premised that there is such a thing. Even if they have the ability, it will only harm them if they object to their existence, and I had lost my mother shortly before I was born. Therefore I ran away in defiance of being measured because it was useless. Well, it wasn't something to run away from. Elves are generous that I've been away for 20 years and they still remember it. Selenium, does this mean that Almeida is an abomination for Selenium that she reported her existence to the elves? But wait a minute. Then why would that woman want to hand over you, Selenium? That is, to report that I hadn't become a tree after all, no. She is exiled, right? She cut off with her clan. At least, she can't easily return to a film because she has thrown away her film's nationality. She can't respond even if she had such a mission, that's right, a sense of mission or responsibility. Does she think she's responsible for the person who she once needed to hand over? No. But it's strange. I mean, if she can't go back to a film, she won't be able to get poison and then it's faster to kill in a straight line without having to hand over Selenium somehow. It's weird, yeah, dark green clan, I don't know, the three of us twist our heads. Can we continue the inquiry? And the police officer in charge of interrogation was at a loss, I forgot. What a failure, I have to dive back in the morning and look for my spear. But Selenium, even though she survived with great pains, she became the slave of a human. Medicine or money? Something must be in his hands. I can't even throw away the possibility that she is in love with a slightly gentler degree because she is a mix and raises the heat. No, then she will be no slaves. It is decided that the devil and the market price are decided to like such a thing. That guy, I'll kill him. Shit, my wallet is at the bottom of the water. Oh, Mississippi. Did you fall into the canal? Yes, it's still cold, so it's tough. If you like, don't you want to warm yourself at home? It's right there. I'm indebted to you. You use hard words like nobles. What is your name? Almeida. It's Almeida Dark Green. I'm Marie Smithson. Well, I wonder if I have any clothes for a young lady like you to wear.